Chapter 1621 Huge Harvest. Void Origin Hall. After Yi Tian came back, he immediately began to fuse those eternal ancestors. As time slowly passed, a door of eternal ancestors merged. After a long time, Yi Tian merged a series of immortal ancestors. When Yi Tian's body has acquired these immortal ancestors, the potential is even higher. And if he creates eternal skills in the future, it will be even easier. Especially the immortal and immortal ancestors, this immortal ancestor has a certain relationship with the endless eternal body, because the endless eternal body has merged with the ancient star eternal body, and the ancient star eternal body actually has the power of immortality. To have such a powerful life-saving ability. And now, Yi Tian has obtained the immortal ancestral gift, which helps him cultivate the endless eternal body. The fusion talent has been completed. Yi Tian began to practice the endless eternal body. This time, he has obtained Yuanqing Eternal Stone and many other resources that will help to improve the endless eternal body. Naturally, he must cultivate the endless eternal body and strive to cultivate it to the perfect state. Immediately, Yi Tian began to refine Yuanqing Eternal Liquid. The large piece of Yuanqing Eternal Stone quickly extracted some Yuanqing Eternal Liquid, and some other resources also extracted substances that help to improve the endless eternal body. Start cultivating the endless eternal body. Yi Tian swallowed a mouthful of Yuanqing Eternal Liquid, and the endless eternal body began to absorb the energy of Yuanqing Eternal Liquid. At this time, the immortal ancestral Fu played a certain role, which made Yi Tian's utilization rate of Yuanqing Eternal Liquid improve a lot, which made Yi Tian a little surprised. With the constant consumption of Yuanqing Eternal Liquid, Yi Tian's endless eternal body continued to improve. Gradually, the endless eternal body rose to the peak state of the late Dacheng stage. At this time, Yi Tian had already consumed a lot of substances, and he was only one step away from the completion of the endless eternal body, but this step was very difficult to complete and required a lot of resources. Fortunately, Yi Tian was lucky. Before these substances were completely exhausted, Yi Tian's endless eternal body was finally completed. As soon as the endless eternal body was completed, Yi Tian's strength skyrocketed. Moreover, the resources Yi Tian obtained from Yuanshui this time are enough for him to cultivate to the realm of the 7th level supreme, and can easily help him break the shackles, but it is still somewhat difficult to reach the 8th level supreme realm. On the other hand, Yi Tian's clone of the black mist insect in Primordial Sea is looking for various resources. The original sea. At this moment, black mist worms are all over the place, and Yi Tian can lead other black mist worms wherever he goes. He is the king of black mist worms. All kinds of precious resources have been collected by Yi Tian, and exist in a void opened up in the body. This day, Yi Tian discovered an incomparably precious treasure, the void true liquid. The emptiness and true liquid are in the form of emptiness and liquid, and there are subtle fluctuations in the eternal rules, but the main feature is that it will become a real emptiness when it encounters the eternal rules. That is to say, the attack of the eternal rule cannot touch it. Once an external eternal rule touches it, it will disappear completely, as if it does not exist between heaven and earth. There is no eternal rule, even half a step in the eternal realm. Its existence cannot be detected. And once the eternal rule attack leaves where it is, it reappears. Therefore, it is still very easy to identify the real liquid of nothingness. I actually found the true liquid of nothingness. If those ninefold supreme people know about it, I'm afraid they will go crazy. Yi Tian muttered. He immediately put away the void true liquid and stored it well. The void true liquid can help any ninth supreme being to reach the half-step eternal realm, and it is the last hope of some ninth supreme who have used the original source liquid similar to treasures. Yi Tian doesn't really need the void real liquid, but there must be someone in the human race who needs it, such as his relatives. He does not think that his relatives can rely on himself to cultivate to the half-step eternal realm, and he is afraid that he will have to rely on the real liquid of nothingness. Therefore, just a portion of the void real liquid, he still feels that it is not enough. After obtaining the void true liquid, Yi Tian's luck seemed to be getting better and better. It didn't take long for Yi Tian to once again obtain an extremely precious treasure, the primordial tree in the primordial sea. Primordial leaf is a kind of treasure born from primordial tree. One primordial leaf can carry the supreme being into primordial sea, but primordial tree has 10 leaves, and primordial tree may also have special uses. Unfortunately, Yi Tian didn't know the use of the primordial tree. However, he still collected the 10 leaves. As for the original tree, he did not take it away, but stayed here, and it would not be too late to come back when he figured out the use of the original tree. In the days that followed, Yi Tian obtained many, many resources, many of which were useful to the half-step eternal realm. In the entire primordial sea, there is no supreme person competing with Yi Tian, and this is his home field. And the black mist insects have no wisdom, and they don't need those resources. At this moment, Yi Tian was thinking about how great it would be if the black mist insect could come out. Then, he doesn't have to worry about the resources he has cultivated to the half-step eternal realm, and he can even help the human race cultivate multiple half-step eternal realms. Long years have passed. Yi Tian has visited most of the primordial sea. In fact, many resources have been collected by the Supremes who came in the last time. After all, there are many Supremes who have entered here, and their collection speed is also very fast. However, the amount of resources Yi Tian found was still incomparably terrifying, far exceeding Yi Tian's expectations. Among them, there are 2 drops of nothingness, 1 primordial tree, 1 eternal and immortal holy flower, 3 eternal enlightenment flowers, and 109 primordial stones. These are among the most harvested treasures. Among them, the eternal enlightenment flower can make half-step eternal realm have the effect of epiphany, which is of great value. And the eternal immortal holy flower can heal 1 Jiao Nu Jiao cut injury, even the fatal injury of half-step eternal realm can be cured with the eternal immortal flower. The indestructible primordial stone is an extremely hard thing, which can be used to create eternal source weapons, and after half a step in the eternal realm, there are relatively few eternal source weapons. And so many unextinguishable primordial stones are enough to create many eternal source weapons. As for other resources, there are countless. More importantly, these are the treasures missed by the Supreme in half-step eternity. With the passage of time, more treasures will be born in Yuanshui, and Yi Tian will be able to harvest a wave of resources at that time. Unexpected, some changes have taken place in the primordial sea on this day, and many black mist insects have been pulled in a certain way and flew towards a certain position in the primordial sea. Yi Tian was able to resist this kind of traction, but he still followed. He really wanted to know, what is the source of this so-called traction? Chapter 1622 An arm turned into a black mist river. Soon, Yi Tian followed the other black mist insects and gathered somewhere in Yuanshui. Here, endless black mist insects gather here, and the density is very high. Moreover, there are more black mist insects to come. This is, quote, Yi Tian saw a dark river, almost separated from the primordial sea, in another void. Above this river, dense creatures are hatching, as if the entire river is a hatching place. The place where the black mist insects hatch. Yi Tian has always wondered where the black mist insect was born, because the black mist insect has no mating needs, no gender distinction, and low intelligence. Under such circumstances, why is the number of black mist insects so terrifying, and each black mist insect is extremely powerful? This is not normal, but he spent a long time in the original sea, and he did not find the birthplace of the black mist insect. Now, he has found it. No, it should be said that the birthplace itself appeared. One by one, the black mist worms hatched and began to devour the eggshells that hatched them. Let's just call them eggs. Almost every egg can hatch countless black mist worms. At this time, the black mist insects from the outside also flew in and devoured these eggshells. Even Yi Tian felt the instinctive desire to devour, as if these eggshells had a great attraction, which was of great use to his strength improvement. Go away. Yi Tian used the aura of the king of black mist insects to force other black mist insects to disperse, and those eggshells had to be swallowed by him alone. Whoa whoa whoa, the eggshells were devoured and refined by Yi Tian, and the other black mist insects would not resist at all. As these eggshells were absorbed and refined by him, Yi Tian's breath became stronger and stronger. For the black mist insect, this kind of eggshell is the real treasure resource, and other resources in the original sea are not attractive to the black mist insect. Boom! Yi Tian's cultivation level actually broke through. This black mist worm clone has been upgraded to the 7th level. So, Yi Tian continued to devour, as if this body had no bottleneck. But other black mist insects can't do this. Their potential is insufficient and they are limited. Even if swallowing eggshells can improve their strength, the magnitude is not large. Perhaps, they instinctively want to break the shackles and break the restrictions, but without the immortal ancestors, they can't do it at all. Soon, the cultivation of the black mist insect clone improved again. 7th layer, CJFI, early stage. The middle stage of the 7th realm. 7th stage, late stage. The pinnacle of the 7th realm. It stands to reason that it should be difficult to break from the 7th level to the 8th level. Even if Yi Tian's body needs to attack the 8th level supreme from the 7th level supreme, it is estimated that it will be more difficult. However, the black mist insect clone easily broke the shackles and was promoted to the 8th level, comparable to the 8th level supreme. But after all, the black mist insect is not supreme, there is no eternal body, and those eternal skills are not suitable for it. Therefore, the combat effectiveness of the black mist clone is not very strong. Of course, black mist insects mainly rely on numbers to win, and individual strength doesn't matter. After a long time, the cultivation of the black mist insect clone could no longer improve, but he also reached the pinnacle of the 9 realm. Unfortunately, such a breakthrough is not beneficial to ontology, and ontology cannot learn from it. After breaking through to the 9th heaven realm, Yi Tian's avatar of the black mist insect also became the size of a puppy. After the strength breakthrough, Yi Tian clearly felt that something was wrong with the river. The normal black mist insect perception range is not very large, but Yi Tian's perception now covers this river. Under his perception, this is a river similar to an arm, and it is a broken arm, as if it came from the depths of endless time and space, but was cut off by someone. At this time, he had already imagined a picture from a long time ago. In the endless era, an extremely terrifying existence was cut off by another strong man, and this arm was left in the time and space of the primordial sea, and then after a special evolution, this arm was the black mist worm hatched. But this arm is an eternal existence, even if it breeds endless black mist worms, it still does not disappear completely, but turns into the form of a river and continues to exist. The so-called river form is just a state of decay. Is it really so? Yi Tian guessed in his heart. But if it is true, how terrifying the strength of this strong man is. Even after the eternal realm, it is an extremely terrifying level. Yi Tian pondered for a while, and immediately made a decision, that is to go deep into this river. This river will hide at no time, and it will be difficult to find it at that time. But once it enters the depths of the river, it is easy to have problems. Therefore, Yi Tian found a nearby island and first stored the treasures he had collected. In this case, even if this black mist worm avatar falls, he can take those resources with him next time he enters the primordial sea, so as not to lose these resources. After processing the resources and treasures, Yi Tian came to this river again, let's call it the Haiwu River for now. Entering the Haiwu River, Yi Tian slammed into it and continued to advance towards the depths of the Haiwu River. Exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark. Endless pressure hit, as if to prevent him from entering the depths of the Black Mist River. If it were other black mist insects, it would not be able to penetrate at all. But Yi Tian's avatar of the black mist worm has already reached the 9th level supreme, so he was able to force his way in. As time passed, Yi Tian went deeper and deeper. I don't know how long has passed, Yi Tian finally discovered something different. A stick-shaped weapon exuding dazzling golden light appeared in his perception, and there were more and larger things similar to this in the distance, and the shapes were different. Yi Tian came to this dazzling golden light stick and looked at it carefully. It's a bone, Yi Tian affirmed. Strictly speaking, this is a fragment of bone, and an insignificant fragment. At this point, Yi Tian can be sure that his guess is correct. Haiwei was indeed an arm, not only was it cut off, but the bones of the arm were beaten into countless fragments, almost shattering, turning into countless bone fragments. And this is one of the skeletal fragments in front of him. Yi Tian tried to attack, and slammed into the black mist worm body at the peak of his 9th level realm. With a full blow, this skeletal fragment cracked open. It is estimated that it has existed for too long, and there are black mist worms hatching, constantly absorbing the strength of the arm. Such existing bones can be knocked out of the cracks by me. 1. Yi Tian said with emotion. Certainly. Even so, such a skeleton is priceless. Chapter 1623 The Captured Black Mist Insect. Bone like this is very valuable, put it away. Yi Tian swallowed this piece of bone into the space in his abdomen and stored it. Afterwards, he began to look for other bone fragments. Time passed slowly, and one after another was collected by Yi Tian. These bone fragments alone, if they are sold in the future, can be exchanged for many precious resources, and even the half-step eternal realm can see these bones. The only thing Yi Tian regrets is that the eternal realm power contained in these bones is too thin, not as good as the eternal realm finger on Yi Tian's hand. Of course, it was mainly because the power of this arm was used to incubate black mist worms, and one arm could incubate this nearly endless number of black mist worms, making a large number of half-step eternal realms extremely jealous. It can be seen from this that the owner of the finger of the eternal realm is far inferior to the owner of this arm. After a long time, Yi Tian collected all the bones of this arm. Unexpected, the repulsive force came, and the black mist river began to repel the countless black mist insects. Although Yi Tian's strength is strong, he is unable to resist Haiwei's rejection. No, strictly speaking, it is not the exclusion of Haiwu River, but the exclusion of the special space where Haiwu River is located. From this, it can be seen that the original sea is very special, otherwise the arm of the eternal robbery can't be turned into the state of Haiwei. Yi Tian's strength and realm are far from being able to spy on the true secrets of Yuanshui. After being repelled, the black mist river disappeared. And the number of black mist insects has increased a lot, and they are scattered, and the concentration of black mist around them will also be sparse. As time goes by, the original sea has not changed much. In the Void Origin Hall, Yi Tian used the resources of the Primordial Sea to reach the pinnacle of the 6th level Supreme, ready to attack the 7th level Supreme. He took out a treasure, Eternal Violet Heart Flower. This treasure can easily help him break through from the realm of the 6th Supreme to the realm of the 7th Supreme. Once he breaks through, with the endless eternal body of his perfect state, as well as a variety of eternal skills, it is enough to fight against the weaker half-step eternal realm. If you use the fingers of the eternal realm, it is enough to defeat a half-step eternal realm powerhouse that is not weak. Yi Tian swallowed the eternal purple heart flower and began to refine the eternal purple heart flower, attacking the realm of the 7th supreme being. It didn't take long for Yi Tian to successfully reach the 7th level supreme realm. The transformation from the 6th level supreme to the 7th level supreme is also a huge transformation, and the strength has increased greatly. At this time, Yi Tian could easily defeat the previous self. After another period of time, there was good news from the human race, and the human race gave birth to a supreme being. The person who made the breakthrough this time is still Yi Tian's relative, Yi Tian's wife Xiao Yu. Thanks to Yi Tian's hard work, Xiao Yu can be considered a high-spirited person and has broken through to the realm of the supreme. At this point, the human race suddenly has 4 supreme beings. Moreover, the number of first-class invincibles of the human race gradually increased, and everything was progressing in a good direction. On this day, something happened in Yuan Shui made Yi Tian full of doubts and shocks. The original sea, Yi Tian, as usual, was looking for resources in the primordial sea. After all, the resources of the primordial sea are constantly being produced, so some resources are often born. But suddenly, the void of the original sea opened 2 holes, and both hands grabbed it. One hand is wrapped in scales, not like a human-like hand, while the other is like a human-like hand, white and immature, but full of terrifying aura. I saw 2 hands grabbing a large number of black mist insects. These black mist insects tried to erode these 2 hands, but they couldn't shake them at all. The 2 hands easily grabbed many of these black mist insects in one fell swoop, holding them again and again. I don't know how long has passed, and a voice came. Enough. Just catch these black mist bugs, don't catch too many. Okay, let's catch it next time. As soon as the words fell, the hands of the 2 strong men withdrew from the original sea, and the void cracks also healed. During the whole process, Yi Tian did not dare to move a single bit, and even tried his best to wrap himself inside other black mist insects, so that countless black mist insects would wrap himself up, so that it would not be easy to be discovered. Yi Tian breathed a sigh of relief until the 2 mysterious beings disappeared. Those 2 should be the eternal realm. 1. Ask for flowers. Yi Tian secretly said. From the dialogue between the 2 eternal realms, it can be known that they know the existence of black mist worms, and they also need black mist worms. It seems that they are captive here, and they come to harvest a batch from time to time. And the Haiwu River is constantly hatching new black mist insects, which leads to the fact that the black mist insects in the original sea will never disappear and maintain a stable number. In this way, the original sea is only a base for the eternal realm to cultivate black mist worms, and the half-step eternal realm and the treasure land that countless supreme people desire is actually a base, which is too ironic. Yi Tian until now, it is difficult to imagine that the truth will be like this. Moreover, does anyone know the power in the source sea? Yi Tian felt that he knew, and even the 12 patriarchs of the Yuanshan pavilion might know, but he would not say it. 0. Some forces were born in the eternal realm, but the eternal realm does not stay in the source sea for some reason, but the eternal realm can definitely appear in the source sea. For example, the time when the innate eternal life was born, the eternal realm appeared. In a word, regarding the secrets of the eternal realm, the supreme people generally have no way of knowing it, and Yi Tian does not know either, and does not even know where to find out. When my cultivation base reaches half-step eternal realm, maybe there is a way to know it. Yi Tian secretly said. Those 2 mysterious eternal realms will not come to the primordial sea in a short time, so Yi Tian will not worry. Time flies. On this day, another inner meeting of the Yuanshan Pavilion began. The meeting was mostly about sharing intelligence experiences and welcoming a new group of inner members. Because the last Yuan Shui caused many members of the Yuanshan Pavilion to fall, they invited another group. At the meeting, soon, the welcome ceremony was over, and everyone started to discuss at will. Unexpected, Yi Tian asked a question. Everyone, does anyone know the real use of the primordial tree? I only know that the primordial tree can produce primordial leaves, is there any other use? The true river sword ancestor looked at Yi Tian. The endless ancestor, could it be that you found the primordial tree? That's not true, but what if I find it later? Yi Tian said with a smile. At this time, Jianzhu Junhe really spoke about the great value of a primordial tree. Chapter 1624 The original tree heart that can refine the clone. I know another use for primordial trees. Junhe Jianzhu said. As soon as the words fell, Yi Tian and the other supreme beings were attracted by the true river sword ancestor, waiting for the explanation of the true river sword patriarch. Junhe Jianzhu said. The original leaf can bring people into the original sea, but in fact the original leaf was born in the original tree, and the original tree was born in the original sea. As for how the original leaf came out of the original sea at the beginning, it is tentatively regarded as the eternal realm bring it out, let's not mention this. But some primordial trees will be discovered, and after many fights and snatch, our Yuanshan Pavilion also snatched a primordial tree. It can be refined into a special clone, which is even useful for the half-step eternal realm. That is to say, if the original tree heart is obtained, it can be refined into a half-step eternal clone, and the original tree heart exists in the body, even if the clone has fallen to August 10th, and after paying some price, it can be condensed again. For the supreme or half-step eternal realm without the ability to clone, the value of the original tree is very high. But as far as I know, the original tree heart is useless to the eternal realm, otherwise the original tree has been taken away by the eternal realm long ago and will not be left to us. Consolidate the clones. Yi Tian was shocked. This ability is very powerful, and for the supreme being without the ability to clone, this is simply a supreme treasure. Although he has a duplicate body, he doesn't need the original tree heart, but his family needs it. They don't have the ability to clone, so they don't dare to venture out rashly. Otherwise, if they accidentally fall, they will really fall, but if they have the original tree heart and can refine clones, then they don't have to be afraid. Knowing this usefulness, Yi Tian rejoiced in his heart, but did not show it. Then, he remained silent. After that, everyone exchanged information, and the 12 ancestors also announced the opening day of a treasure land, but the value of this treasure land is not high, and it is suitable for the 7th or 8th level supreme person to enter, but the harvest will not be very large. Yi Tian has no interest in such a treasure, so he is not going to participate. Soon, when the meeting was over, the supremes left one by one. When all the inner members left, the 12 patriarchs discussed it again. The infinite ancestor suddenly asked the primordial tree, do you think he obtained the primordial tree? 1. Feng Jiyu Yuanzu asked. Junhe Jianzhu said, there is a possibility that the original tree was found in the original sea and brought out. If this is the case, Junhe Jianzhu, don't make this idea, the endless ancestor has the ability to clone. As for the potential, you are very clear, there is even hope to surpass us in the future, even if he can't enter the eternal realm, his combat power is too strong, and it is even expected to be in the half-step eternal realm can be called invincible, such a person cannot be an enemy. One of the 12 patriarchs, black and white origin ancestor reminded. Ha 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 ha, Jianzhu Junhe laughed a few times and said, you guys underestimate me too much, I won't snatch the original tree of the endless ancestor, I really don't have the ability to clone, but at my level, all I am working hard to impact the eternal realm, and the clone just gives me an extra life-saving ability which is not very useful for cultivation. Moreover, when I reach the eternal realm, the primordial tree is useless, and even the eternal realm doesn't look good. My vision is not that low. If it is a treasure that can make the eternal realm condense the clones, I will be moved. It's just that although we won't be tempted, we can't guarantee that other supreme beings or half-step eternal realm won't be tempted. Maybe they won't take action in person, but they can invite other powerhouses to take action. Although the infinite ancestor is very powerful, repairing because after all, he has just broken through to the 7th level supreme, and his combat power is comparable to that of ordinary 9th level supreme. Then are we going to help? I think other supreme or half-step eternal realm will not try to kill the endless ancestors even if they shoot, because the endless ancestors have the ability to clone, no one knows where the body is hidden, and they can hardly be killed. But the endless ancestors, his identity has been investigated clearly, the supreme person in the dark forbidden area of the new eternal world. If the enemy takes the dark forbidden area as a threat. If you threaten the endless ancestor, maybe the endless ancestor will hand over the primordial tree. Yeah, as long as it's not life-threatening, let's not interfere, otherwise wouldn't it be a thug? After the 12 ancestors discussed this way, they felt that the endless ancestor might not be able to keep the original tree. Of course, there is another situation, that is, the endless ancestors really do not have the original tree, they think too much. Dark forbidden area. Yi Tian's replica body is back here. It still caught their attention. Yi Tian muttered. No way, he asked this question, it was very strange, and it was normal to attract their attention. After all, the Supreme Being and half-step eternal realm are not stupid, and you can guess a little by imagining it a little. However, he was not afraid, otherwise he would not have asked. With his current strength, even if it is a powerful half-step eternal realm, he will not be afraid of anything. The dark forbidden area is still under protection. When the protection of the dark forbidden area ends, his cultivation will definitely be upgraded to the realm of the 8th level supreme or even the 9th level supreme. At that time, he is not afraid of those top half-step eternal realms at all. Whoever is his enemy will be the enemy's disaster, not his. At the same time, somewhere in the Source Sea, several supreme beings are negotiating to deal with Yi Tian, and they are making plans. In a dark hall, the 6 supreme beings of the 9th level were shrouded in darkness. According to my information, the endless primordial ancestor of the 7th level supreme should have obtained the primordial tree in the primordial sea. The primordial tree not only has primordial leaves, but its tree heart can also help us gather our clones. Even if only one of us can condense the clones, it is enough. The extra primordial leaves can be sold for 5.8, which is enough to exchange for the resources that allow us to attack the half-step eternal realm. After condensing the clones, I will shoot that person. When we enter the original sea, we are not even afraid of falling. At that time, we will rise. Remember, the endless ancestor has the ability to clone, it is difficult to kill him completely, but his dark forbidden area can't run there. The endless ancestor is very young, and he must have feelings for the ethnic group, and his family is still in the dark forbidden area. We surround the dark forbidden area and threaten him. Otherwise, when the protection period of the dark forbidden area is over, we will completely destroy the dark forbidden area. Domain, the endless ancestor might hand over the primordial tree directly. Let's do it like this, I can't go, the endless ancestors will recognize me and leave it to you. After the 6 9th level supreme beings discussed it, they immediately prepared to act. Otherwise, if you move slowly, you will be preempted by other strong people, and maybe it will not be their turn. Chapter 1625 You, I and #039, am afraid you can and #039, T go. Outside the dark forbidden area. A number of 9th level supremes appeared here, and suddenly a 3rd-class invincible human race came out of the dark forbidden area and was immediately caught by a 9th level supreme. Seniors, what are you going to do? The 3rd-class invincible of the human race was very panicked. The breath of these people was far beyond his imagination. A wisp of breath suppressed him, unable to move. It must be the supreme one above the invincible, and it is not ordinary supreme. He has also seen several supreme beings of the human race. Except for the incomparably mysterious endless ancestors, the breath of the other supreme beings is far inferior to these. These few are afraid that they belong to the top of the supreme beings. Why did such a strong man catch him? He was very puzzled and did not understand how he had offended them, or did the human race offend them? Send a message to your human race, and let the endless ancestors come over. 1. One of the 9 supremes ordered. The 3rd-class invincibles of the human race immediately realized that they were the enemies of the endless ancestors, and immediately did not dare to disobey their orders. As for him, there is no way to directly contact the supreme being. Soon, several supremes of the human race knew the situation, but they did not leave the dark forbidden area directly. After all, the other party was directly looking for Yi Tian, and he must be an incomparably powerful supreme. And they are too weak, and they are not qualified to compete with such powerful supreme beings. If they go out, they will only add a prisoner to the enemy. All races are not allowed to leave the dark forbidden area, and there is the arrival of the supreme enemy from the outside world. Several supreme people of the human race sent messages one after another, and even closed the 3rd order doors one by one. At the same time, they contacted Yi Tian, who had just returned and was cultivating. Father, there are several supreme beings outside the dark forbidden area. Yi Xingchen came to meet Yi Tian. Xingchen, I understand, you go down, you can't participate in this matter. Yi Tian murmured. In fact, he also knew for the first time, and even guessed the reason. These supreme beings are afraid that they are here for the primordial tree. The value of the primordial tree is too high, even a single primordial leaf is enough to drive many supreme beings crazy. It is quite normal for these supreme beings to snatch his original tree, even if they have no evidence, it is enough to take risks. Yi Tian could have ignored them, but if they didn't go, they would probably intensify their efforts, and once the dark forbidden area was no longer protected by the source sea, the supreme people from the outside world would come in, and if the war came to an end, they would instead spread to the dark forbidden area. Therefore, he intends to directly deal with this matter and let the outside forces know that Yi Tian is not easy to mess with. Wow! Yi Tian crossed the dark forbidden area in one step, came to the source sea of the outside world, and also saw 5 9th-level supreme beings. These 9th-level supreme beings are all at the peak of the 9th-level supreme being, and they are only one step away from the half-step eternal realm. It is precisely because of this that they are eager to obtain the opportunity of the primordial tree. 5 9 Supremes. Yi Tian breathed a sigh of relief. If the 5 half-step eternal realm came, he really couldn't stand up. However, half-step eternal realm is rare, that is, only the top loose forces like Yuanshan Pavilion can have so many half-step eternal realm. In fact, many powerhouses in the Source God Pavilion belong to other forces, and in a sense, overlap with some forces. However, Yi Tian was sure that these 9th-layer Supremes must be in the same power as the members of the Yuanshan Pavilion, so they could get the news immediately. What do you mean? Why did you capture an invincible of my human race? Yi Tian asked. One of the 9th-level Supreme people said in a low voice, the infinite ancestor, I heard that you have a primordial tree in your hand it over. The original tree? Yi Tian sneered, who told you that I have the original tree? It doesn't matter who it is, the point is, if you don't hand it over, not only will this human race invincible fall, but when your dark forbidden area has passed the protection period, we will destroy this eternal world. The other party threatened. Are you threatening me? Yi Tian said coldly. He is very clear that even if he does not admit it, the other party will not believe it, and even if he swears, the other party will not believe it. After all, he has the ability to clone, this information is no longer a secret, and when the oath is made, it will only affect this body, but the main body will not be affected. Therefore, they will not believe their oaths. These 5 people all wore shirts and masks that covered their breath, but their identities could not be concealed from Yi Tian at all. Through the exploration of duplicating talents and the understanding of their names, Yi Tian quickly locked their identities. The 5 of Jinlan Mountain, do you really want to be my enemy? Yi Tian asked. Identity exposed. The 5 9 Supremes were surprised. They didn't make a move. If they did, they wouldn't be able to completely conceal their aura and half-step eternal skills, and it would be normal for them to be guessed. But now, Yi Tian recognized them at a glance, which shocked them a little. Several, aren't you afraid that I will take revenge on Jinlan Mountain and take revenge on your eternal world? Yi Tian said. Don't be afraid. One of them smiled and said, if we get your original tree, we can't give up Jinlan Mountain. As for the eternal world behind us, you can destroy it if you want to destroy it. Anyway, we take away the people we are close to, and the lives of others will be different from each other. What do we do? But you should care about the human race and the dark forbidden area. Yi Tian was silent for dozens of seconds, then said, well, I will fight with you. If you win, I will hand over the original tree. If you lose, you must not fight the original tree again, how about it? Quote. No problem. The 5 9 Supremes agreed immediately. However, they still did not let go of the 3rd-class invincible celebrity, but sealed it up and threw it into a void ball from 810. Then, the fight began. Boom. Except that Yi Tian didn't use the fingers of the eternal realm, he showed the fighting power between the 9th-level Supreme and the half-step eternal realm. In fact, his regular combat power is enough to fight against the weaker half-step eternal realm, which is equivalent to the weakest half-step eternal realm. And these 5 9th-level Supreme beings do not have the combat power of half-step eternal realm, so naturally they are not as good as Yi Tian in the normal state. If Yi Tian didn't hide his strength, he would scare them. Meanwhile, he has another plan. As soon as they fought, the expressions of the 5 Supremes changed drastically and were completely suppressed by Yi Tian. After a few hours, the 5 Supremes had already begun to suffer minor injuries. Retreat first, wait for more power to gather, and then threaten the endless ancestor. A 9-layer Supreme person suggested. Can, the other 9 Supremes agreed. So, They said in unison, "We admit defeat. Let go of that third-class invincible. He is of little value to you. You won't become mortal enemies with me for a human invincible, right?" Yi Tian said. "Put." They released the invincible. And after Yi Tian grabbed the clan invincible with one hand, he threw it into the dark forbidden area. After that, Yi Tian intercepted 5 ninth layer supremes. "You guys, I'm afraid you can't leave." Yi Tian sneered. Chapter 1626 Kill them all. Yi Tian stopped these 5 ninth level supreme beings, making them startled instead. "Endless ancestor, you won't let us leave. It's ridiculous, is it possible that you still have the confidence to keep us?" The 5 ninth level supreme beings are very puzzled. Although Yi Tian's strength is stronger than them, there are not a lot of them. If they want to leave, Yi Tian can't stop them at all. Why does Yi Tian dare to stop and threaten them? The endless ancestor, get out of the way immediately. The 5 ninth level supreme people said coldly. "You dare to threaten the dark forbidden area and me, then fall here. I hope you have the ability to clone, otherwise you will really die today." After that, Yi Tian shot. This time, he did not show any mercy, but showed all his combat power. Boom! The endless Eternals of the perfect realm erupted with all their might, and a series of extremely powerful Eternal skills were also displayed. Buzz! Countless terrifying sword chi tore apart the rules and slashed at the 5 ninth level supreme beings. Today's void-shattering sword has been perfected by Yi Tian, which is even more terrifying than in the past, and has been cultivated to a very advanced level. The power of this sword has reached the power of the weakest half-step Eternal realm. The 5 supreme beings of the 9th level resisted this sword with all their strength, but they were still severely injured. The power of half-step Eternal realm. The expressions of the 5 9th level supreme beings changed dramatically. A 7th level supreme person exerted a power comparable to that of a 9th level supreme person. How is this possible? Although it is the weakest half-step Eternal realm, it is incomparable with those top half-step Eternal realms, but they still can't beat it. They are not the kind of evildoers who are comparable to the half-step Eternal realm. Escape. The 5-9 Supremes immediately had this idea. Immediately, they used their whole cards and escaped at the fastest speed. For example, a 9th level Supreme person took out a top source tool that could penetrate the void of the source C and cross the void at a long distance, thereby escaping here. There is also a 9th level Supreme person who uses a secret treasure that can temporarily increase the speed by 100 times, but can only be used once. In short, they all tried their best to escape. If they stayed here, they would not be able to live at all. Unexpected. Yi Tian also used his own trump card to display the Finger of Destruction, which stimulated the power of the Finger of the Eternal Realm. Immediately, a blow comparable to the powerful half-step Eternal Realm directly smashed the Origin Sea Void, and a large area collapsed and shattered. The 3 9th level Supremes did not escape in time, and were directly crushed into pieces, and their vitality was directly erased. One hit kills them instantly, and none of their cards can save their lives. This is the difference between the ordinary peak Zhouzhongtian peak powerhouse and the powerful half-step Eternal Realm combat power. The gap is really too big. At this time, another 9th layer Supreme was seriously injured, and another escaped through the void. "I said, you can't escape," Yi Tian muttered. After he smashed the severely injured 9th layer Supreme with another blow, he immediately activated the Void Origin Hall, locked the opponent's position, and began to chase and kill. Somewhere in the Source Sea, Qi Shui Yuanzu, the last supreme being of the 5 9th level supreme beings, used his source tool to penetrate the void and came to a certain area. He was relieved. He felt that Yi Tian couldn't catch up with him in time, and when Yi Tian caught up here, he would have already left. "Get out of here first. Qi Shui Yuan ancestor is about to leave." Suddenly, a powerful force appeared, suppressing this void. Then, Yi Tian's body came out of nothingness. How come? Qi Shui Yuanzu was shocked. He has already guessed why Yi Tian is chasing so quickly. He must have a special source or other treasure, which can teleport to the void and lock the position. Moreover, when they were fighting, Yi Tian silently locked the positions of the 5 of them, so when he used the source tool to escape, he was already locked. Otherwise, Yi Tian didn't know where he teleported to, so he wouldn't be able to hunt down. It turns out that from the beginning, he wanted to kill the 5 of us. Qi Shui Yuan ancestor trembled in his heart. "Endless ancestor, I tell you who is going to deal with you, don't kill me." Qi Shui Yuan ancestor begged for mercy. "No need, I can find out." Yi Tian mobilized the destruction finger and killed Qi Shui Yuan ancestor with one blow. After returning to the dark forbidden area, Yi Tian entered the Yuanshan pavilion and asked to see Feng Gu Yuanzu. Soon, Feng Ji Yu Yuanzu met Yi Tian. Endless ancestor, what are you looking for me for? Feng Ji Yu Yuanzu asked. Yi Tian hurriedly said, Master Feng Gu Yuanzu, I want to ask, if there is a conflict between the members of the Yuanshan pavilion, will the Yuanshan pavilion participate? Feng Ji Yu Yuanzu knew what Yi Tian meant, and said directly, if there are members of the inner circle asking for help, our 12 ancestors will make one shot, but they can only make one shot. This is the welfare treatment of every inner circle member. 1. Feng Gu Yuanzu, I understand. Yi Tian nodded slightly and left immediately. The 12 ancestors will take action, but only if Feng Gu Yuanzu and the 12 ancestors have received the distress message and can come in time. What if the inner member didn't have time to call for help? Therefore, relying on the protection of the Yuanshan pavilion is of no great use at all. For other supreme beings, the Yuanshan pavilion is just a loose organization, and it is not bad for trading, but it will not really help a member for free. Subsequently, Yi Tian contacted other inner members and traded some treasure resources to get a message, which member is related to Jinlan Mountain. This information is not difficult to check, so Yi Tian naturally found it. Among the many inner circle members, there is only one member who belongs to Jinlan Mountain. This is Zhe Fei Yuanzu. Zhe Fei Yuanzu is a 9-level supreme person in Jinlan Mountain, and also one of the founders. After getting the news, Yi Tian immediately came to Jinlan Mountain. Source C. Jinlan Realm. This is the eternal world, and Jinlan Mountain is the dominant force of Jinlan world. When Yi Tian came here, he used his copying talent to explore Jinlan Mountain, but he didn't find the one who got money that he was not the original ancestor. Immediately, he captured the supreme being of Jinlan Mountain and interrogated him. In the end, these supreme beings could not contact Zhe Fei Yuanzu either. Obviously, Zhe Fei Yuanzu ran away. Yi Tian didn't kill these supreme beings of Jinlan Mountain, they didn't know it, and it was useless to kill them, but Yi Tian still took away the treasure house of Jinlan Mountain as a punishment for them. In addition, if he discovers Zhe Fei Yuanzu in the future, he will hunt him down as soon as possible without giving the opponent a chance to survive. Somewhere in the void of the source sea, Zhe Fei Yuanzu appeared here, and he was panicked and helpless at this time. Quote. Damn, the strength of the endless ancestors is so terrifying, Qi Shui Yuan ancestors have all fallen, fortunately I escaped fast enough, otherwise I will die. In the future, Jinlan realm will not be able to go back, and Yuanshan pavilion will not be able to enter, so we must find a place to hide and drag. Zhe Fei Yuanzu muttered to himself. Soon, he disappeared into this area without a trace. Chapter 1627 100,000 Robbery Yuan, the 8th level supreme. Zhe Fei Yuanzu escaped, it was not a big problem for Yi Tian at all. In the future, his strength will become stronger, and Zhe Fei Yuanzu will not dare to appear, otherwise he will die. Therefore, he didn't care much about Zhe Fei Yuanzu. In addition, through this matter, Yi Tian's strength was exposed. The outside world knows that he has the strength of half-step eternal realm, and he is a half-step eternal realm with the ability to clone. Even the incomparably powerful half-step eternal realm would not offend Yi Tian without huge benefits. The primordial tree is indeed very precious, but that is all speculation, and they are not sure to snatch the primordial tree, so they will not do it. Otherwise, once they offend Yi Tian, who has an infinite future, if Yi Tian's cultivation level rises to the 9th level supreme, or even a half-step eternal realm, then their troubles will be big. Therefore, the other supreme beings even half-step eternal realm gave up the idea of dealing with Yi Tian. The dark forbidden area also calmed down, and the invincibles of the human race gradually dared to leave the dark forbidden area and go to the outside world. And Yi Tian also began to retreat and practice to improve his own cultivation. Anyway, he has no shortage of resources now, so he naturally wants to raise his cultivation to the realm of the 8th level supreme person as soon as possible. The stronger the strength, the more treasures 810 and more good places can be visited. There are too many mysterious places in Yuanai, and his current strength is not qualified to contact the real secrets of Yuanai. Even the Void Origin ancestor of Void Origin Hall was only an ordinary half-step eternal realm. In the eyes of the superior, it is a truly invincible existence, and it is the top combat power of Yuanai. But in fact, Void Origin ancestor is really not qualified. After seeing the existence of the eternal realm, Yi Tian really realized that a powerhouse like Void Origin ancestor is really nothing. Even if he is now using the fingers of the eternal realm, it is enough to confront the void origin ancestor 1 or 2 times. At the beginning, the number of void sons and void god sons was so rare. In fact, many invincibles from powerful forces did not look down on the void origin monument in the mere void origin hall, and only some weakened invincibles of eternal heaven and earth were eager to become void sons. Yi Tian murmured. In the following days, Yi Tian continued to practice. And the human race gave birth to a supreme being in the following years. For example, Yi Tian's daughter and sister also broke through to the realm of the supreme. Moreover, Yi Tian has provided the people with a lot of eternal resources, at least for a long time. Anyone who has reached the highest level is eligible to obtain some eternal resources. This is Yi Tian's benefit to the people. Before you know it, the years of robbery have passed. 10,000 robbery, 20,000 robbery, 30,000 kalpas. Yi Jinpeng and Yi Xingchen and other supreme beings have gradually risen to the realm of double supreme beings, and the number of supreme beings born in the human race has reached more than 10, gradually catching up with the T-online world. Before you know it, the protection period of the Dark Forbidden Area is approaching. At this time, Yi Tian has also cultivated to the peak of the 7th level supreme, and can step into the 8th level supreme realm at any time. Not only that, his comprehension of the eternal rules reached an extremely terrifying level, because he copied the innate eternal life again and again, and comprehended the innate eternal rules. Therefore, Yi Tian knows a lot about the innate eternal rules, and the eternal skills created are naturally stronger. In addition, Yi Tian's foundation is extremely solid. It was also because of the foundation problem that he took so long to cultivate. Otherwise, he would have already broken through to the realm of the 8th level supreme, and he would not have waited until today. This day, Yi Tian began to attack the realm of the 8th level supreme being. After taking a few treasure resources to assist the breakthrough, Yi Tian easily broke through to the realm of the 8th level supreme being, and his strength once again crossed a limit. At this time, his combat power is already equivalent to the ordinary half-step eternal realm, not the weakest half-step eternal realm. But at this level, Yi Tian wants to quickly cultivate to the realm of the 9th level supreme. It is impossible. Unless he obtains the resources of the original sea black mist insect clone, the original sea can only be opened CJFI once for a long time, and 100,000 robbery yuan is nothing. According to what he knew, the time interval for opening the primordial sea once was 10 million robbery yuan. Even so, many supreme people are waiting, but Yi Tian can't wait. He couldn't wait for such a long time. Maybe at that time he no longer needed the resources of Yuan Chuai. Therefore, he wants to get out of the primordial sea as soon as possible. It is not impossible for the primordial sea to come out. For example, the 2 eternal realms can tear apart the void of the primordial sea and take away so many black mist insects from the primordial sea. Therefore, he can also come out of the original sea, as long as his strength is strong enough, or he has special means. In these years, Yi Tian's black mist worm clone has been cultivated to the pinnacle of the 9-layer realm, and he can step into the half-step eternal realm at any time. Moreover, the black mist clone has also learned an eternal skill suitable for the black mist clone. Combined with the black mist clan, he even thought of an excellent means to improve his strength, but that would have a significant impact on the foundation. But this is just a clone. Even if you pay for this clone, as long as you bring out the treasure, everything is worth it. This day, Yi Tian's black mist clone came to the primordial tree. He uprooted the primordial tree and took it into the inner space. Afterwards, he also took away the new resources of the original sea. You have to leave, otherwise it will be discovered by the eternal realm powers. It is a small matter that my clone has fallen. If those resources are taken away, the loss will be too great. 1. Yi Tian thought to himself. So, he began to attack the realm of the Supreme Being. Boom! Yi Tian used an eternal technique that devours other beings, black mist insect phagocytosis. Immediately, a large number of black mist worms were swallowed into the body by Yi Tian's avatar of black mist worms, and they were refined by others, turning into a force to help him hit the half-step eternal realm. Soon, the shackles will be broken. The biggest difference between the half-step eternal realm and the Supreme Being is that the Supreme Soul is one, and the eternal rules are not unified with each other. The half-step eternal realm is the degree to which the body and the eternal rules have reached the level of conformity. Using this fit to break the shackles, it is promoted to the half-step eternal realm, but in fact there is no real fusion, just blending together. It is like mixing 2 kinds of wine. It looks like one kind of wine, but if you distinguish it carefully, it still belongs to the mixture of 2 kinds of wine. Because of this, half-step eternal realm is called half-step. The black mist worm clone is to forcibly use a large number of black mist worms as energy, forcibly let the eternal rules in the body blend with the body, so as to cross to the half-step eternal realm. This method is unfavorable to the Foundation, and the future potential will be affected, and even there is no hope of becoming an eternal realm. But Yi Tian doesn't care about this. After breaking through to the half-step eternal realm, Yi Tian continued to devour other black mist insects, and his strength became stronger and stronger. Chapter 1628 Refining Eternal Origin Weapons. The dense black mist insects became Yi Tian's ration. This way of swallowing made him more and more terrifying in the half-step eternal realm, and he didn't know how powerful he became. However, he is very clear that only if he is stronger, he can leave here. In fact, after the original tide of the primordial sea ends, it is not impossible to leave, but when leaving, they will be killed by the black mist insects, which causes the top half-step eternal realm of the outside world to dare not stay in the primordial sea, and Yi Tian's black mist clone is naturally not afraid of black mist. Almost. Yi Tian felt that it was difficult to improve his strength, there was no need to continue to practice, he could try to leave the original sea. Boom! The void of the original sea is shattering. Yi Tian forcibly smashed the void of the original sea, and the not huge body burned part of his body and strength. In exchange for a more terrifying strength, he drilled out towards the outside world. Space is shattered, time and space are ups and downs. Yi Tian moved towards Yuan Sea along the connection with the main body. Soon, somewhere in the source sea, the void split open, and a black mist worm drilled out. At this moment, its whole body was almost broken. In order to rush out of the original sea, this clone was almost scrapped. At this time, Yi Tian's cloned body had been waiting here for a long time, and immediately took away the countless resources from the black mist insect clone, and then the cloned body immediately fled away, leaving only the black mist clone still here. He didn't dare to take the black mist insect clone away, and in case other eternal realms were attracted, the void origin hall would not be able to shelter him. Therefore, it is better to be careful, and after copying the body and leaving, Yi Tian immediately killed himself, causing this black mist worm clone to completely fall and die, and the body began to annihilate. In this way, when the eternal realm arrives, nothing can be found. As predicted, a mysterious eternal realm shrouded in darkness appeared here, trying to detect something, but found nothing. Then, the mysterious eternal realm left. To him, it was just a small matter, nothing worth investigating. Came back. Yi Tian breathed a sigh of relief. Immediately, he took out those resources and was immediately excited. The accumulation of these resources is enough to make any half-step eternal realm generate greed. I now have a lot of indestructible primordial stones, and I can create an eternal source weapon for myself. The weapons I have always used are top source weapons, and they can no longer keep up with my strength. Yi Tian muttered. In the days that followed, he began to forge eternal source weapons. Of course, he spent a lot of materials in advance to train his refining skills. In fact, he often refines origin artifacts for the human race, and it is very easy for him to refine ordinary origin artifacts, but the success rate of refining top origin artifacts is not too high. But this time, he has gained too much, and he has obtained countless materials for refining the top source device, and he is not afraid of consumption. Years passed, and in the blink of an eye, dozens of robbery yuan. In these dozens of robbery yuan, Yi Tian has been training his refining level almost day and night, and finally has almost 100% confidence in refining the top source device. So, he began to refine the eternal source weapon. So many inextinguishable primordial stones are enough for him to waste, and he is not afraid of failing to succeed. For the first time refining, Yi Tian did not succeed and wasted an immortal primordial stone. However, he was not distressed and continued refining. In this way, Yi Tian failed to refine again and again, but his experience became more and more rich, and his mistakes became less and less. After wasting 17 inextinguishable primordial stones, Yi Tian finally succeeded in refining an eternal source weapon, a sword. Yi Tian named this weapon the Endless Eternal Sword. Subsequently, Yi Tian also refined a full-body armor of the eternal source weapon level, which consumed 6 inextinguishable primordial stones. A full-body armor, a sword. These two kinds of eternal source weapons have at least increased Yi Tian's strength by more than 30%. Afterwards, Yi Tian gave some of the origin artifacts refined to the supreme beings of the human race. Anyway, these things are of no use to him. With the eternal source weapon, Yi Tian will no longer refine the eternal source weapon. He called his wife Xiao Yu. Husband, Xiao Yu came. Yuaa, this is the heart of the original tree. You use it to refine a special avatar. The avatar has the same strength as the main body, and it can also be cultivated, and the feelings will be exchanged. Yi Tian took out the original tree heart and handed it to Xiao Yu. He only has one such good thing now, so he will only give it to his wife, not even his son, let alone others. Can you make a clone? Xiao Yu was very excited. She didn't know the value of the original tree, otherwise she would not accept it easily. Afterwards, Xiao Yu took the original tree heart to refine the clone. Soon after, Xiao Yu's clone was successfully refined, and it was no different from the main body. Ask for flowers. Husband, I went out to practice. Xiao Yu said excitedly. Go, once encountering danger, annihilate the clone, it doesn't matter if the clone falls, you can reunite with resources, don't be reluctant. Yi Tian urged. Husband, I understand. Xiao Yu nodded. Afterwards, Yi Tian ignored his wife Xiao Yu and let her go to practice at will. And he himself closed again. This time, he once again copied the body of the innate eternal life, and at the same time the body began to swallow the flower of eternal enlightenment. He has 3 flowers of eternal enlightenment, and even a half-step eternal realm is extremely eager to obtain 1 flower of eternal enlightenment. Moreover, Yi Tian has the immortal ancestral gift, which can exert the effect of the eternal enlightenment flower to a greater extent. Point 0. The benefits of absorbing 1 eternal Tao enlightenment flower are absolutely comparable to those of other half-step eternal realms absorbing dozens or even hundreds of eternal Tao enlightenment flowers. This time, Yi Tian is going to use these 3 eternal enlightenment flowers to condense the innate eternal rules. The eternal rules are divided into ordinary eternal rules and innate eternal rules. For example, the eternal rules inscribed in the body of the innate eternal life are the innate eternal rules, which makes the innate eternal life so valuable and the potential is so huge. It is almost impossible for ordinary life to condense the innate eternal rules. Only after stepping into the eternal realm can they condense the innate eternal rules and master the innate eternal rules. Although the innate eternal life has innate eternal rules in the body, but in fact they have not mastered it, they need to break through to the eternal realm before they can master it freely, which is also one of the flaws. But compared to other beings, the innate eternal life undoubtedly has too many advantages. In the half-step eternity, the half-step eternity that has mastered the innate eternity rules is the half-step eternity that is truly invincible. Half of the 12 ancestors mastered the innate eternity rules before they can surpass the other half-step eternity. Above the realm, countless top powers in Yuanai are afraid. Yi Tian muttered. He has a deep understanding of the eternal rules, but he is still a little short of condensing the innate eternal rules. Therefore, he is going to use the 3 eternal Tao enlightenment flowers obtained this time, and there is absolutely hope that he will succeed in condensing in one fell swoop. This time, the innate eternal rules he condensed are power. Because he has the power of immortal ancestors, so the hope of condensing the innate eternal rules of power is the greatest. Let's start. Yi Tian took out a flower of eternal enlightenment. Chapter 1629 Half-Step Eternal Realm at the Extreme Realm Level. Yi Tian swallowed this flower of eternal enlightenment, and his understanding instantly broke some kind of shackles and rose to an unimaginable level. Yi Tian took this opportunity to begin to comprehend the innate eternal rules of the innate eternal life, and his own understanding of the eternal rules improved at an incredible speed. Gradually, Yi Tian's eternal rules began to undergo qualitative changes. But at this moment, the effect of the first eternal enlightenment flower lost. So, Yi Tian immediately took the second flower of eternal enlightenment and continued to comprehend the innate eternal rules. Finally, when the second flower of eternal enlightenment was about to lose its effect, Yi Tian realized the innate eternal rules. The eternal rule of innate power is engraved on Yi Tian's body, and it is vaguely about to merge with Yi Tian, but the fusion fails. After all, he is not the real eternal realm now, so there is no way to completely integrate 810 with the eternal rule. Not to mention the fusion with the innate eternal rules. But even if it was only engraved on his body, Yi Tian controlled the eternal rules of innate power, and his strength showed a shocking qualitative change. There is still an eternal enlightenment flower left, don't use it for now, keep it. Yi Tian muttered. Moreover, mastering the eternal rule of innate power this time is just an innate eternal rule, which also allowed Yi Tian to break the shackles and step into the level of the innate eternal rule. In the future, it will be much easier for him to comprehend other innate eternal rules, which is equivalent to one method to all methods. Afterwards, Yi Tian comprehended some years, and his strength still improved, but he was still far from the realm of the 9th level supreme. However, his current conventional strength has already crushed the general half-step eternal realm, and it is considered very good in the half-step eternal realm. Moreover, the fingers of the eternal realm are not very helpful to him, and at most they can only increase their strength several times. If he ascends to the realm of the 9 supremes, the fingers of the eternal realm will be completely useless to him. But this is a good thing, enough to prove that Yi Tian is getting stronger and stronger. This day, a big thing happened in the Source Sea. The Dragon Scale Temple, the top power in the Source Sea, was destroyed, and even the Dragon Scale Holy World was destroyed. The key is that after the Dragon Scale Sacred World was destroyed, it was discovered by other forces, and before that, there was no message of distress at all. If the ordinary forces were destroyed like this, it would be fine. The key point is that the Dragon Scale Saint Realm is not weak. It is a real top power. It has 3 half-step Eternal Realm, dozens of 9-level Supreme, and the number of Supreme is up to more than 100,000. It is a truly incomparably ancient force. Soon, the news spread, and even Yi Tian heard about it. Dragon Scale Temple was destroyed. Yi Tian was surprised. And the artifact spirit of the Void Origin Hall was extremely shocked after learning about it. Master, the Dragon Scale Temple is a very ancient force. Although it has never existed in the Eternal Realm, it has existed for longer than the previous master, the Void Origin Ancestor. Although the founder of the Dragon Scale Temple has existed for a long time, it fell, but the Heizu of the Dragon Scale Temple is very powerful, much stronger than the Void Origin Ancestor. Such a force was silently destroyed. I am afraid that it involves a more powerful existence, and may even evolve to the Eternal Realm. Qi Ling said. Forget it, this matter has nothing to do with us, naturally other forces will investigate. Yi Tian muttered. After some years passed, the influence of the destruction of the Dragon Scale Temple gradually dissipated. But on this day, another force was destroyed. This force is the Eternal Sect. It is a force that rose from the sect. It was originally a sect force in the eternal world. Later, a powerful evildoer was born. He rose all the way, and raised the eternal sect to a level comparable to the powerful forces of the Yuanai. It also occupied a treasured land in the Source Sea, where a brand new ancient sect was opened. The eternal sect is not as powerful as the Dragon Scale Temple, but there is also a half-step eternal realm, and there are many supreme people in the sect. But even so, the eternal ancient sect was completely destroyed. In the days that followed, one force after another was silently destroyed, and there were even many forces that did not have half-step eternal realm, only 8 or 9 supreme ones, but they were still being targeted. Originally thought that this mysterious black hand was only aimed at the top powers of the half-step eternal realm, but now the weaker powers have suffered, so all the powers are afraid. As a result, all forces united to investigate. On this day, the 12 ancestors of the Yuanshan Pavilion held an internal meeting, and Yi Tian also received a summons. Source God Pavilion. Yi Tian came here and sat on his seat. Soon, the other inner circle members appeared one by one, but Zhe Fei Yuanzu did not come. With 1 or 2 less inner members, the 12 patriarchs didn't care. Seeing that the members of the inner circle had almost arrived, Junhe Jianzu said, I think you must have heard the news that the Dragon Scale Temple and many forces were killed. I heard. Many forces are worried now and don't even know what to do. Jianzu Junhe, do you know who the mysterious Black Hand is? If you let me know who the enemy is, I will definitely destroy them. 1. Forget it, the Dragon Scale Temple was silently killed. Where is the general half-step eternal realm and opponent? Jianzu Junhe waved his hand and told everyone to stop talking. He said, according to my understanding, the mastermind behind the scenes is using an eternal source weapon. The time and space Hengshazu block the eternal world, and no information can be transmitted. Then he started to destroy those forces. To be able to destroy a force like the Dragon Scale Temple in a short period of time, either the Eternal Realm shot, or there was a half-step Eternal Realm of the Extreme Realm and several top half-step Eternal Realms, territory. The half-step Eternal Realm of the Extreme Realm, the entire Source Sea is not much, right? An ordinary half-step Eternal Realm whispered. Yes, there are not many half-step Eternal Realms of Extreme Realm in the entire Yuanai. Feng Jiyu Yuanzu nodded. Among the 12 ancestors of Yuanai, there are only 6 half-step Eternal Realms of Extreme Realms, but extremely there is a difference between the realm and the Extreme Realm. Extreme. Yi Tian also knows the division of this level, mastering the innate eternal rules, and the strength far exceeds the top Eternal Realm, that is the Extreme Realm half-step Eternal Realm. It is rumored that the half-step Eternal Realm 5.8 of the Extreme Realm is also divided into 1 Extreme Realm, 2 Extreme Realms, and 3 Extreme Realms. The highest is the Juji Realm and the half-step Eternal Realm, but such a half-step Eternal Realm can even defeat the general Eternal Realm. This era hardly exists. The source has a half-step eternal realm, but they are all in the extreme realm, so it is impossible for them to be strong. However, the Yuanshan Pavilion is an idle force and has no constraints, so it is not a threat to many top powers. At this time, some members of the inner circle even wondered if the 12th Patriarch did this, but thinking about the character of the 12th Patriarch, they wouldn't do it, but if this matter is not resolved in a day, their inner fear can't be erased. At this time, Jianzhu Junhe provided another important clue, which shocked all the inner members. Chapter 1630 The identity of the enemy has been detected. Junhe Jianzhu said, "We went to investigate the ruins of the dragon-scale sacred world. The enemy left quickly, so they left some clues, and the other party obviously used another eternal source weapon, the blood-devouring beads. This eternal source weapon is a forbidden weapon and is forbidden to be used by the eternal realm, because it can devour the supreme being in the half-step eternal realm, extracting pure power, thereby helping oneself break through the realm. According to our guess, this time there is a certain mysterious force is going to use the blood-devouring beads to devour a large number of supreme beings in half-step eternal realm, thereby impacting the eternal realm. Can the eternal realm still impact like this? Some people are very suspicious." Junhe Jianzhu added, "Naturally, it is not that easy, and various other precious and rare resources need to be prepared, and the success rate is less than 10%, and even if the breakthrough is successful, it is not the real eternal realm, it can only be regarded as a fake. The eternal realm has the strength of the eternal realm, but it does not have the power of the eternal realm. The real eternal realm can be integrated with the eternal rules, and after breaking through and practicing for a period of time, it can be integrated with the innate eternal rules and take charge of the true nature of the innate eternal rules. Power. However, if you use the blood-devouring beads to break through, you can't integrate with the innate eternal rules, or even with the ordinary eternal rules. But for some half-step eternal realm at the extreme level, after breaking through hopelessness, using this method to enter eternal realm, as long as they have the power of eternal realm, that is enough, they don't care about the future. Furthermore, once you break through to the eternal realm, even if it is a broken eternal realm, the real combat power is the real eternal realm, and the eternal realm strength after the extreme level breakthrough is terrifying. The environment is not necessarily stronger than them." After Junhe Jianzhu finished speaking, many Supremes in half-step eternal realm were more worried about their own safety. If that mysterious force finds them, they will not be able to compete with an extreme powerhouse. Seeing that many supreme beings in half-step eternal realm were panicking, Fengji Yuanzhu said, "You don't need to worry too much, the major forces in Yuanai are already investigating, although that mysterious force has destroyed many forces, however, some forces have supreme beings who have clones. The main body did not fall, but the clones were killed. Through the information of these people, we will slowly collect the origin of the mysterious force, so as to find them, and then join hands to destroy this power." At this time, many supreme beings in half-step eternal realm were preparing to leave their forces, either staying in the Yuanshan Pavilion, going to the safest place, or hiding. In this way, it will not be destroyed by that mysterious force. And although Yi Tian didn't think that such a small force like the Dark Forbidden Realm would be targeted by those mysterious forces, he didn't want to sit still. If it is really unlucky, the Dark Forbidden area will be over. Therefore, he most hoped that the mysterious force would be found. After the meeting, Yi Tian took the initiative to stay and said, "The 12 ancestors, I have the ability to clone and can help with the investigation. Even if I die, it's no big deal." Jianzhu Junhe pondered for a while, nodded and said, "The endless ancestor, you can help if you want. Your cultivation is in the realm of the 8th level supreme, and it is not easy to attract attention. Instead, it is us, even if we have the ability to clone, we can clone. It is still a half-step eternal realm at the extreme realm level. If we appear, the mysterious forces will not necessarily take action, but you will not be noticed. You can indeed help." Fengji Yuanzhu said, "The endless ancestor, if you really want to help, I will send you to a force, Lanyu Pavilion. The headquarters of this force is located in Lanyu Realm. Lanyu Pavilion has only one half-step eternal realm, but Lanyu Pavilion has a lot of supreme beings, and there are 33 supreme beings of the 9th level, so this force is easy to be targeted. At present, the general half-step eternal realm dare not help, even the top the eternal realm does not dare to help Lanyu Pavilion, and if the half-step eternal realm at the extreme level appears in Lanyu Pavilion, the enemy will not appear. If you go to Lanyu Pavilion, if the enemy appears, notify us immediately. However, the strength of the enemy is terrifying, and it is very likely that they will not be able to catch up." At this time, Yi Tian assured, the 12 ancestors, I may not be able to stop the enemy, but once the enemy appears, I have a way to find out their identities. Really? Junhee Janzu and the others were shocked. According to their understanding, the enemy hides their breath, and even changes their breath, and the extreme half-step eternal realm shot almost instantly defeats those ordinary or powerful half-step eternal realm and the supreme. Even if they are just clones and the main body is still alive, they don't know the identity of the other party at all. But Yi Tian has the confidence to detect the identity of the other party. Is this possible? The Endless Ancestor, what can you do? Can you talk about it? Junhee Sword Ancestor asked. Yi Tian shook his head and said, this is my secret, please don't ask the 12 ancestors, but I can guarantee that once the enemy appears, his identity will be exposed, and it is useless to kill me instantly. The 12th ancestor smiled happily, and immediately asked Yi Tian to rush to Lanyu Pavilion. Embrace the Moon Realm. Yi Tian came here and stayed in a giant city near the Lanyu Pavilion headquarters. In the entire Lanyu Pavilion, only the Lanyu Yuanzu of Lanyu Pavilion knew about Yi Tian's arrival, but the other party didn't care about the arrival of a mere 8th level supreme person, and didn't pay much attention at all. Now, Lanyu Yuanzu only hopes that the mysterious enemy will not target him. As for escaping, Lanyu Yuanzu has no such idea. Lanyu Pavilion is everything to her, she will not escape. Time passed slowly. Yi Tian's cloned body stayed here all the time, waiting silently. Finally, on this day, one after another stalwart figures appeared around Lanyu Ji. Suddenly, a bead was suspended above the Moon Langling realm. This is the time and space constant sand beads. The entire Moon language realm has completely lost contact with the outside world. Even the message cannot be communicated, and the connection between the main body and the clone will become very weak, and the clone wants to transmit the message to the main body. There is a certain delay. Boom! The world barrier of Lanyu realm was torn apart, and at the same time, a blood-colored bead turned into a blood river and traversed the Lanyu realm. The endless creatures 810 were absorbed by the river of blood in an instant, and even ordinary supreme beings had no resistance at all. Boom! Lanyu Yuanzu appeared, and she was very angry and stared at Lanyu realm. Who the hell are you? However, what was ushered in was a finger in the air. This is a finger at the extreme level. No matter how Lanyu Yuanzu defends, his body is crushed by one finger. Lanyu Yuanzu still wanted to recover his body, but the afterimages of his fingers slaughtered and killed Lanyu Yuanzu's body instantly. Almost in one breath, Lanyu Yuanzu was attacked many times, his vitality was completely shattered, and the remnant body was absorbed by the blood river, or the blood-devouring beads. Then, a big hand directly smashed the Lanyu sect headquarters, and those 9th level supreme people were almost like ants, and they had no resistance at all. Yi Tian also saw this finger, but didn't stop it because he couldn't stop it. Of course, his endless eternal body's life-saving ability is terrifying. Even if his cultivation is only at the 8th level supreme realm, his life-saving ability should be stronger than Lanyu Yuanzu. But this is useless. Once the extreme state is serious, he will still be killed by 1 or 2 breaths. Anyway, he has already used the copy talent to probe the identity of this extreme realm, so there is no need to expose himself. Then, the attention of the half-step eternal realm powerhouse. Yi Tian self-destructed this replica body, and the suicide of a supreme being naturally did not cause. Chapter 1631 The mastermind behind the scenes has been found out. And when this mysterious force invaded Lanyu realm, Yi Tian informed Yuanshan Pavilion, but it took time for several extreme realms of Yuanshan Pavilion and extreme realms of other forces to rush to Lanyu realm. Mysterious forces have already used some formations to interfere with the void in the territory near Lanyu realm, and Lanyu realm has been blocked. Even the powerhouses of the extreme half-step eternal realm can't use the source device to travel through space, and directly descend to the vicinity of the Moon Lantern realm. And by this time, it was too late. Whoa! Junhee Janzu and other powerhouses from the extreme realm and the half-step eternal realm came here, and found that the Moon realm had been shattered, countless creatures had disappeared, and the Moon Pavilion had also completely disappeared, and the Moon ancestor had also fallen. One step slower, Junhee Janzu murmured. Immediately, one half-step eternal realm left here one by one. And not long after, Yi Tian's cloned body descended on Yuanshan Pavilion again. Inside the Yuanshan Pavilion, Yi Tian met with the 12 ancestors, and everyone sat down and started chatting. Junhee Janzu directly asked, "The Endless Ancestor, you said before that you guaranteed to find out the identity of the other party, have you found it now?" 1. Check it out. Yi Tian nodded. Under the investigation of the copying talent, the extreme state had no way to hide his identity. Which force? Junhee Jianzhu hurriedly asked. Yi Tian said. Which force? I don't know very well, but I know who is the extreme realm who shot. Who is it? The other 12 ancestors were also curious. Star Demon Origin Ancestor. Yi Tian revealed. It's him, are you sure? Jianzhu Junhee frowned. Yes, I can guarantee it 100%. As for whether you believe it or not, it is none of my business. Yi Tian said. Do you know who the ancestor of the Star Demon is? Junhee Jianzhu asked. I don't know. Yi Tian only knew the identity of the other party from the exploration of the copy talent, but he really didn't know who this extreme realm half-step eternal realm powerhouse was. Junhee Jianzhu began to tell the origin of Xingmo Yuanzhu. The ancestor of Star Demon is one of the oldest half-step eternal realms in Yuanai, even older than many eternal realms, and he has not appeared for a long time. At the same time, he is also the owner of Xing Demon Mountain. 10.5 steps to the eternal realm. More importantly, a disciple of the ancestor of the Star Demon was promoted to the eternal realm. Star Demon Origin Ancestor has a disciple of eternal realm. Yi Tian finally knew why Junhee Jianzhu and the others frowned, because the other party's origin was too great. How powerful is the eternal realm? The 12 ancestors dare not offend each other. Therefore, if you want to deal with the origin of the Star Demon, you have to consider the eternal realm behind the opponent. Moreover, although the Star Demon Origin Ancestor has destroyed a lot of powers, there is no eternal realm behind these powers. Will those forces that have the backing of eternal realm really offend an eternal realm for those destroyed forces? Moreover, Star Demon Origin Ancestor himself is not weak. The strength of the ancestor of the Star Demon is the 3 poles, and we are not opponents. Junhee Jianzhu shook his head. Obviously, he did not dare to go to the trouble of Xingmo Yuanzhu. 12th Patriarch, how do you deal with this matter? Yi Tian asked. Junhee Jianzhu and the others were silent for a while before making a decision. We will distribute news about the origin of the Star Demon, but we will not take action. After all, we can't kill the ancestor of the demon, nor can we offend the ancestor of the demon. Junhee Jianzhu said helplessly. I understand. Yi Tian didn't say anything, and he wouldn't persuade Junhee Jianzhu to them. After all, let them kill the extreme realm that they cannot kill, and there is an eternal realm behind this extreme realm. No half-step eternal realm has such courage. Then, Yi Tian left. He knew that this matter could not be counted on the Yuanshan Pavilion. However, Yuanshan Pavilion still spread the news in a covert way. Gradually, the entire Yuanai knew about the origin of the Star Demon. After all, in the entire Yuanai era, the number of extreme realms did not exceed 3 digits, only 80 or 90. If you remove the unsuspected ones, the number will be even smaller. Therefore, after the Star Demon Origin Ancestor was revealed, many forces believed it. Star Magic Mountain. Xingmo Yuanzhu also knew the news from the outside world, and was immediately puzzled. Strange, my movements are so fast that it's impossible to reveal it. Who the hell leaked it? Star Demon Origin Ancestor was very surprised. Although the news has been exposed, it is nothing to him, and there is no half-step eternal realm dare to deal with him. After all, one of his disciples is eternal realm. However, if the news was leaked, he would definitely be targeted. Once he tried to do it again, it would be a little troublesome. The power absorbed by the blood-devouring beads is not enough for me to be promoted to the eternal realm, and I have to destroy some more forces. Star Demon Origin Ancestor secretly said. Immediately, one force after another appeared in his mind, and finally locked on a target. Ancient Shrine. This is not a weak force. It is an alliance force, with 6 half-step eternal realms, and the strongest among them is only the top half-step eternal realm, not the extreme realm. Although it will take a while to kill a top half-step eternal realm with his strength, but he has already been exposed, so there is no need to worry about the speed problem. The Ancient Shrine is not weak. Destroy the Ancient Shrine, and then destroy 1 or 2 forces, almost all the strength. This day, Xingmo Yuanzhu took 18 half-step eternal realm from Xingmo Mountain to the Ancient Shrine. Soon, the Ancient Shrine was surrounded by the ancestors of the Star Demon, and the space-time constant sand beads blocked the void, and even half a step of the eternal realm could not escape from here. The Black Demon Saint Ancestor of the Ancient Divine Palace was instantly terrified when he saw the Star Demon Origin Ancestor and so many half-step eternal realms. Xingmo Yuanzhu, you let us go, I am willing to hand over all the treasure resources. Black Fiend Saint Ancestor panicked. The other powerhouses in the Ancient Shrine also panicked. Today is a desperate situation. Go! A statue of Shingmashan's half-step eternal realm shot, smashing and killing countless powerhouses. All the powerhouses of these ancient shrines were swallowed up by the river of blood that the blood-devouring beads turned into, and even the corpses were not left behind. The Haisha Saint ancestor was targeted by the Star Demon Origin ancestor, and the two sides fought, or the Haisha Saint ancestor was completely beaten, and he couldn't even compete. The only thing the Black Fiend ancestor can do is to delay the time as much as possible. Maybe there will be someone in the extreme realm to rescue him. At the same time, the Yuanshan Pavilion and other top powers also got the news that the ancestor of the Star Demon had invaded the ancient shrine, and the news was extremely positive. This also completely confirms the fact that Shingmo Yuanzu is the mastermind behind the scenes, but many extreme realms dare not do it. Not long after, the ancestor of the Star Demon bombed and killed the holy ancestor of the Black Evil, destroying the ancient shrine, and was about to leave. Suddenly, this Source Sea area has changed, and they instantly came to a world of ice. This ice world has frozen even the source of the Source Sea, as if it can freeze everything. This is a shocking formation, and the enemy has succeeded in setting it up in a short period of time. Wuji Bingzu, it's you, are you going to attack me? Star Demon Origin ancestor said in horror. Wuji Bingzu, one of the 6 great powerhouses in the Yuanai era, is a half-step eternal realm at the 7th realm level, far exceeding his strength. This type of powerhouse actually took action against him, and even secretly arranged a large formation. This is because he didn't want to let him escape. Kaka, the half-step eternal realm of Shingmo Mountain was frozen. Although he has not died yet, once he is frozen for a long time and his body is frozen and shattered, he is really dead. Chapter 1632 The Ancestor of the Star Demon, Fall. The ancestor of the Star Demon, you are killing too much, and you have slaughtered so many forces, you should die. 1 inch. Wuji Bingzu appeared. She is a woman, wearing a crystal-clear armor. Ice crystals are suspended around her, and the ice crystals are not real ice crystals, but the eternal source weapon Infinite Smoothie. Wuji Bingzu, aren't you afraid of the existence of the eternal realm behind me? Besides, you just had time to stop me, but you didn't stop it, but set up a big formation. I want to ask, is there any hatred between us? Star Demon Origin ancestor asked. You killed Lanyu. Wuji Bingzu said coldly. Lanyu Yuanzu, are you related to her? Star Demon Origin ancestor was stunned. How could Lanyu Yuanzu have something to do with Wuji Bingzu? Why didn't you say Lanyu Yuanzu in the first place? Do not. Even if Lanyu Yuan ancestor said it at the beginning, he would not believe it. He only thought that Lanyu Yuan ancestor said it on purpose to save his life. Moreover, in order to hide his identity, it is impossible for him to listen to what Lanyu Yuanzu said, and he won't waste a little time, and Lanyu Yuanzu's words are also useless. It is precisely because of this that Lanyu Yuanzu did not say it. Lanyu is my junior. I have never disclosed it, and I only want to attack the Eternal Realm, so I don't care about Lanyu. Originally, I think Lanyu's strength is also a powerful half-step Eternal Realm. If you don't fight, there should be no danger in Yuanai, you don't need to use my power. But 8.1 million did not expect that you would kill her. Wuji Bingzu was extremely angry. She just retreated for a while, and suddenly felt that her younger generation, Lanyu, had fallen and died, and then she woke up and came out of the retreat. After exiting the customs, it was discovered that Shingmo Yuanzu killed Lanyu. In order to kill the wrong person, she did not act immediately, but stared at Shingmo Mountain. As a result, Shingmo Yuanzu started again. She determined the target, but she was too lazy to save the ancient shrine, but chose to set up a killing formation directly in the area of the ancient shrine. This time, she must kill Shingmo Yuanzu. Kill. Infinite Smoothie actuated, the time and space in this area were directly shattered, and the name of the half-step Eternal Realm was finally unable to support it. Shingmo Yuanzu didn't have time to feel sorry for the fall of these half-step Eternal Realms. If he, CJFI, couldn't escape today, he would have to die. Boom. The protection of Star Demon Origin ancestor shattered inch by inch. And the Infinite Smoothie turned into a sword and came through. No matter how the Star Demon Origin ancestor defended, he was still pierced by a single blow, and the injured position had a tendency to freeze. Even though his resilience was terrifying, the injured position was still smashed hundreds of millions of times with every breath. In progress. Escape. Shingmo Yuanzu did not want to fight Wuji Bingzu. The opponent is a half-step Eternal Realm at the level of the 7 Extremes realm, and he is only at the 3 Tribulations realm, so there is a huge gap in strength between the two sides. Moreover, as one of the 6 powerhouses in Yuan, he also has a lot of trump cards, so he has no hope of winning. Suddenly, the star demon origin ancestor motivated the space-time Hengsha Pearl, narrowing the scope of suppression, and wanted to suppress Wu Jibing ancestor, thus creating hope for himself to escape. However, the time and space constant sand beads are only the lowest eternal source weapon after all. In just one breath, the time-space constant sand beads were forcibly shattered by Wu Jibingzu. In the source sea, the ancestor of the star demon kept fleeing, while the ancestor of the infinite ice kept chasing and killing. At this time, countless forces in the entire Yuan knew that the Xingmo Yuanzu was chased and killed, and they were all shocked. Xingmo Yuanzu was hunted down by Wu Jibingzu. Yi Tian was really surprised when he heard this news. He thought that there was no half-step eternal realm to kill the ancestor of the star demon, but he did not expect that a strong man would do it so soon. Yi Tian didn't know much about Wu Jibingzu, but only knew that the other party was one of the 6 extreme powerhouses in the Yuan. These 6 extreme realm powerhouses basically exist in the 7-pole realm and half-step eternal realm, and some may reach the 8-pole realm level, but there is no half-step eternal realm in the 9-pole realm. These 6 extreme realm powerhouses are trying to break through the eternal realm. However, there is no necessary relationship between strength and breakthrough to become the eternal realm. Some weak half-step eternal realms can break through, while half-step eternal realms like Wu Jibingzu are somewhat difficult to break through. However, once such a half-step eternal realm breaks through, after becoming eternal realm, the strength will be extremely terrifying. Time passed slowly, and many half-step eternal realms of Yuan were paying attention to the fate of the star demon origin ancestor. Although there is an eternal realm existence behind the star demon origin ancestor, it is not certain whether that eternal realm existence can come. Moreover, they are almost unable to contact the eternal realm, so must the ancestor of the star demon. Maybe, the ancestor of the star demon was killed, and the eternal realm does not know. However, star demon origin ancestor is, after all, a powerhouse in the 3-pole realm and half-step eternal realm. If you want to kill the 3-pole realm and half-step eternal realm, you will have to spend a little time, not a single move. Yuan is in the ruins of time and space. Star demon origin ancestor was covered in ice crystals, and his injuries were extremely serious. After all, this place is covered with infinite smoothies and completely blocked. Many of the treasures of Xingmo Yuanzu have been used up, and the injury is serious, and it is impossible to break through and leave. Wu Ji Ice ancestor, do you really want to kill me? If you kill me, my disciple, the Lord of the Spirit Crane in the Eternal Realm will not let you go. You already exist in the 7-pole realm, and your future is infinite, so there is no need to be punished by the Eternal Realm because of this. Kill. Xingmo Yuanzu persuaded. Even if you are killed forever, you. Wu Jibingzu said angrily. And all around, there are also half-step eternal realms eyes delivered, as if watching the excitement. And Xingmo Yuanzu knew that he could not persuade Wu Jibingzu, and was afraid that he would not be able to wait for the arrival of Ling Lord in time, so he could only ask for help in the half-step eternal realm that looked around. Whoever saves me will be able to gain the friendship of Lord Ling, and even get the guidance of Lord Ling. The voice of the ancestors of the star demon spread throughout the surrounding territories. However, no one helped. Who dares to offend Wu Jibingzu, courting death? Unless it is the other 5 who are also the powerhouses of the 6 extreme realms, these powerhouses simply disdain the guidance of the Lord Ling, and the Lord Ling can't give any guidance at all. Soon, the body of Xingmo Yuanzu was pierced again and again by the infinite smoothie, the ice crystallizing speed of his body was getting faster and faster, and the seriously injured Xingmo Yuanzu could not recover his injuries at all. After a long time, Star Demon Origin Ancestor was finally unable to compete, and his body was completely crystallized by ice. Then, after a crisp sound, the Star Demon Origin Ancestor was completely smashed into countless powders, and the vitality and consciousness completely dissipated. At this point, the ancestor of the Star Demon fell and died. And at this moment, a terrifying breath came. Eternal existence is here. Chapter 1633 Lord Ling and Lord Lianyi. Lord Ling. Wu Jibingzu felt the breath of Lord Ling and immediately frowned. She had dealt with the Ling Lord, but at that time, the Ling Lord was only half a step into the Eternal Realm, and he only visited her in the attitude of a junior. Of course, the two have only met once. Unexpectedly, Lord Ling was lucky enough to become the Eternal Realm. Although Lord Ling did not break through to the Eternal Realm with a half-step Eternal Realm, it was a normal breakthrough, and it had been a long time since he had broken through to the Eternal Realm. Escape. Wu Jibingzu didn't want to fight with an Eternal Realm existence. Even if the strength of Ling Lord in Eternal Realm was not strong, it was still not an existence that she could compete with. Wuji Bingzu, you dare to kill this Lord's teacher, honor. Courting death. A big hand covering the endless void of the source sea suppressed it. Pieces of territory shattered and shattered, but Wuji Ice ancestor pierced and left in time. Boom, Lord Ling appeared and chased after Wuji Bingzu. Soon, Wuji Bingzu was caught up. Even if she is a half-step Eternal Realm in the 7 Extreme Realm, it is too difficult to escape from the pursuit of the Eternal Realm. Unless you hide in some specific areas, you can avoid the pursuit of the Eternal Realm. For example, the Supreme Eternal Tribulation domain of the Eternal Tribulation clan. This world is very special, even the Eternal Realm is difficult to enter, and it needs to pay a great price. Otherwise, the Eternal Tribulation clan would no longer exist. In addition to the Supreme Eternal Tribulation domain, there are some special places that also restrict the entry of the Eternal Realm, or may make the Eternal Realm's strength plummet. And Wuji Bingzu wanted to hide in such a place, but unfortunately she was a little slower and was caught up by Lord Ling. I saw the Lord of the Crane smashed over with a punch, and integrated into the body of the innate eternal rules, without the need to mobilize any innate eternal rules. Wuji Bingzu mobilized the Infinite Smoothie, an eternal source weapon, to form a layer of ice defense. However, with this punch, all things are annihilated. The grains of smoothie that the Infinite Smoothie eternal source weapon turned into were all smashed and annihilated, and penetrated through many defensive treasures of Wuji Bingzu, bombarding Wuji Bingzu's body. Click. Wuji Bingzu's body shattered, half of the body was directly annihilated, and it was difficult to recover, while the other half of the body was also full of countless cracks. If it takes another blow, Wuji Ice ancestor is afraid that it will fall. It's worthy of being a half-step Eternal Realm of the 7 Extreme Realm, but you can endure a blow from me and not die. It's a pity that if you don't enter the Eternal Realm for a day, you will always be an ant. Lord Ling came with another punch, wanting to completely obliterate Wuji Bingzu. But at this moment, the slender jade hand blocked the punch of the Lord Ling, and directly sent the Lord Ling flying out. Wow! A beautiful figure appeared in front of Wuji Bingzu, smiling at Lord Ling. Lord Ling, let this matter pass. Star Demon Origin Ancestor killed too many Supreme Beings in Half-Step Eternal Realm, and also killed the descendants of Wuji Ice Ancestor. Wuji Ice Ancestor killed Star Demon Origin Ancestor, there is nothing wrong. The woman opened her mouth. I've seen Lord Lianyi, is Lord Lianyi really going to show up for a half-step Eternal Realm? Lord Ling asked. That's right, Lianyi said with a smile. Wuji Bingzu, I'm safe, and why does Xingmo Yuanzu have blood-devouring beads in his hands? The refining method of this thing is only available in our Eternal Realm, and using the blood-devouring beads, the impact of blood beads on the pseudo-Eternal Realm is a forbidden method, and it is not allowed to spread. If Lord Ling insists on killing Wuji Bingzu, I am afraid that it will be reported to the Lord's Alliance. Lord Ling Hei's expression changed, and he immediately said with a smile, Lord Lianyi is joking, it's just a small matter, I'll leave now. Wow, Lord Ling turned around and left. Thank you, Lord Lianyi. Wuji Bingzu said gratefully, Wuji Bingzu, your talent is very good, and you have the hope of becoming an Eternal Realm. Last time I invited you to be my follower, but you refused, so what about this time? Lord Lianyi invited again. Lord Lianyi, I am willing to be your entourage. 1. Wuji Bingzu agreed. Okay, then I'll take you away. Lianyi Lord waved his hand and left with Wuji Bingzu, and disappeared. Katakana middle dot ask for flowers. The ancestor of the star demon fell, and the Lord of the Crane appeared, chased and killed Wuji Bingzu, and was rescued by another Lord of the Eternal Realm. This dramatic scene quickly spread, and many people are not familiar with the Ling Lord and the Lianyi Lord, especially the Lianyi Lord, who has almost no impression of the half-step Eternal Realm. However, the death of the Star Demon Origin Ancestor is a good thing for many forces, at least they don't need to worry every day, and they spend it in fear. However, Yi Tian had another feeling. That is, there is no sense of security in the half-step Eternal Realm. Facing the existence of the Eternal Realm, even the half-step Eternal Realm is just an ant. Of course, the Eternal Realm seldom appeared in the Source Sea, unless it was a special situation like this time, which caused the existence of the Eternal Realm. 0. Otherwise, a half-step Eternal Realm may even die in battle, and he will not necessarily encounter an Eternal Realm powerhouse. In the following years, Yi Tian practiced hard, improved his strength, and gradually forgot about this incident. One calamity year has passed. Yi Tian's cultivation base has been continuously improved, but it is still far away from the new extreme. So in the long years, he occasionally went to the eternal world to experience, and even occasionally accompanied his wife Xiao Yu to many treasures. The human race is also developing rapidly, and many supreme beings have been born, which have already surpassed the T-Online realm. Today, T-Online realm also has to rely on the Dark Forbidden Area, and even use the Dark Forbidden Area as a backing. In the blink of an eye, the years of hundreds of thousands of robbery yuan passed. At this time, Yi Tian has finally cultivated to the extreme of the 8th level Supreme Being, and is qualified to attack the 9th level Supreme Being realm, and this is also the biggest dream of many Supreme Beings in their lives. There is no difficulty in breaking through this time. After all, Yi Tian has already comprehended the innate eternal rules, so it is naturally not difficult to attack the Supreme Being. Soon, Yi Tian broke through to the realm of the 9th level Supreme, and his strength also improved a little. With Yi Tian's current strength, it is enough to be comparable to the top half-step Eternal Realm. With the help of Eternal Realm's fingers, I am afraid that it is enough to display an attack that is comparable to the Extreme Realm, but the ultimate strength is still a little short of the real Extreme Realm. Chapter 1634 The 13th Ancestor of Yuanshan Pavilion. With my current strength, although I can't beat the 6 Extreme Realms among the 12 Patriarchs, I should be able to beat the other 6. Yi Tian thought to himself. He wants to become the 13th Ancestor of Yuanshan Pavilion. Although the 12th ancestor had disappointed him before and did not dare to deal with the Star Demon Origin ancestor, it is normal to think about it carefully. The 12 ancestors themselves are not as good as the Star Demon Origin ancestor. Joining other extreme realms to besiege Star Demon Origin ancestor, the final consequence is also a miserable end. After all, even a 7-pole half-step Eternal Realm powerhouse like Wuji Bingzu killed Xingmo Yuanzu. If not for Lian Yi Lord's rescue, she would also be killed by Xingmo Yuanzu's disciple, Lord Ling. It is conceivable that before there is no Eternal Realm background, forcibly coming forward will only seek death. Therefore, the practice of the 12 ancestors of the Source God is correct. Perhaps, August 10th, is selfish or cruel to other forces, but this is the reality. If Yi Tian is allowed to choose, if he is not strong enough, he will not be able to stand out. Moreover, becoming the 13th ancestor of the Yuanshan Pavilion has many benefits. You can learn more secrets, and even help him to impact the Eternal Realm. Source God Pavilion. Yi Tian came here and applied to the 12th Patriarch to become the 13th Patriarch. In fact, some half-step Eternal Realm members in the Yuanshan Pavilion also wanted to become the 13th Patriarch, but they all failed, and if they failed once, they would not be able to apply for this assessment for a long time. Soon, the 12 ancestors received Yi Tian's application information. The Endless Ancestor wants to apply to become the 13th ancestor. Junhe Jianzu and the others were very shocked. What realm is the Endless Ancestor? Dare to apply for the 13th ancestor? Do you want to refuse? What kind of realm is he? It's just a nonsense. Feng Jiyu Yuanzu shook his head and said. Any member of the inner circle has the qualifications to apply to become the 13th Patriarch, and we have no requirements for cultivation, only strength and background. As long as it is not a force that has a huge contradiction with the Yuanshan Pavilion, we will accept it. And the Endless Ancestor meets the standard, and we have no reason to refuse. Junhe Sword Ancestor said. Then agree, it won't take much time anyway. Feng Jiyu Yuanzu also agreed. All the 12 patriarchs agreed, and the examination of the 13th patriarch started. The content of the assessment is very simple, that is, Yi Tian selects 12 patriarchs, and as long as they persist under any of the 12 patriarchs for an hour without clearly falling behind, they are eligible to become the 13th patriarch. Boom! There is a void in the Yuanshan Pavilion. Yi Tian and the 12 patriarchs appeared one after another. Endless Ancestor, do you really want to conduct the 13th Ancestor exam? Junhe Sword Ancestor asked. Yes. Yi Tian nodded. Then choose the 12 patriarchs. Said Junhe Sword Patriarch. Yi Tian glanced at the 12 ancestors and said, I choose Jin Chen Yuanzu, Shitong Yuanzu and Ba Mian Yuanzu. The 3 half-step Eternal Realm powerhouses he chose are not extreme realms, but the 3 origin ancestors who are weaker among the 12 ancestors all belong to the top half-step Eternal Realm strength, but the distance from the extreme realm is not too far. The true River Sword Ancestor and the others were not surprised at all about Yi Tian's choice. If Yi Tian chose to challenge the extreme realm, it would be strange. The first one to shoot was Jin Chen Yuanzu. Jin Chen Yuanzu showed his incomparably terrifying strength as soon as he shot, but he did not do his best, for fear that he would kill Yi Tian in one move, which would be too shameless. But soon, his expression changed. Because, Yi Tian's strength is not weak, so he easily resisted his punch. The endless ancestor, I won't let go. Jin Chen Yuanzu displayed a series of eternal skills, and every blow made the strongest attack. Boom. The endless void seems to have endless fists, and every fist seems to be able to smash the endless time and space. And Yi Tian also used a series of defense eternal skills to defend against Jin Chen Yuanzu's attack, and attacked Jin Chen Yuanzu from time to time. But after Yi Tian fought against Jin Chen Yuanzu, he really realized that there is a difference between the top half-step eternal realm and the top half-step eternal realm, and his regular combat power is still not the opponent of Jin Chen Yuanzu. As one of the 12 ancestors of Yuanshan Pavilion, naturally there is no weak person. If he didn't use his trump card, he wouldn't be able to become the 13th patriarch at all. Boom. Yi Tian was kicked out, and Jin Chen Yuanzu's voice came. Endless ancestor, your strength is good, you have reached the strength of the general peak half-step eternal realm, but even so, you still can't become the 13th ancestor. When your cultivation base has risen to the pinnacle of the 9 supremes, let's challenge again. 1. Jin Chen Yuanzu, you are indeed very strong, but unfortunately this is not all of my combat power. Yi Tian said, and used the destruction finger. Boom. The breath of eternal realm diffused out from Yi Tian's fingers. The breath of the eternal realm. Junhe Jianzu and the others also sensed it. Next moment, the destruction finger was displayed, carrying the power of the eternal realm finger in and out, crushing the eternal rule with one finger, smashing Jin Chen Yuanzu's protection with incredible power, and directly pressing down a small hole in Jin Chen Yuanzu's body. Jin Chen Yuanzu is injured. Stop, the assessment is over. Junhe Jianzu shouted. Wow. Yi Tian stopped attacking and said, the 12 patriarchs, am I considered to have passed the assessment? Passed. Jianzu Junhe nodded his head, expressing his eternal curiosity. As the breath of the eternal realm exuding from the fingers just now, is it some kind of special treasure? Yi Tian explained. I am a finger that has been integrated with the eternal realm, so that I can exert a trace of the eternal realm's power and burst into a powerful strength, but it will not help me much. 5.8. Saying that, Yi Tian summoned that finger. It really is a finger of the eternal realm. The 12 patriarchs such as Junhe Jianzu were extremely surprised. The 9th level supreme person dares to fuse a finger of the eternal realm, which is too courageous. If they knew that Yi Tian had successfully integrated a finger of the eternal realm in the realm of the 2nd level supreme being, they would be completely dumbfounded. Although this finger is not Yi Tian's, but Yi Tian has successfully integrated the fingers, and can exert its power, it naturally belongs to Yi Tian's combat power. Relying on foreign objects is also strength, and the 12 ancestors of Yuanshan Pavilion also recognized it. At this time, Junhe Jianzu announced, the Endless Ancestor, from today onwards, you are the 13th ancestor of the Yuanshan Pavilion, and we will announce it. Yi Tian nodded. Chapter 1635 The Lord of Time and Space and Eternal Realm. Not long after, the members of the Yuanshan Pavilion received messages one after another, and the 13th ancestor was born in the Yuanshan Pavilion. And when they learned that the 13th patriarch was Yi Tian of the 9-fold Supreme Realm, they were all puzzled, even dissatisfied, whether any of the 12 patriarchs had opened a back door for Yi Tian, and deliberately made Yi Tian a member of the Origin God Pavilion. 13th Patriarch. Although the Yuanshan Pavilion is just an idle force, such behavior will also make them very angry. However, some half-step eternal realm have seized the opportunity, and they feel that if they apply for a challenge at this time, if they apply to become the 14th Patriarch of the Yuanshan Pavilion, they may be able to pass. Therefore, 6 half-step eternal realms in a row applied to become the 14th ancestor of Yuanshan Pavilion. Obviously, they feel that Yi Tian's strength is weak. As long as they can persist in Yi Tian's hand for an hour, or even defeat Yi Tian, they can become the 14th ancestor. Interesting, some people think that the ancestors of the Endless are very weak, and want to take this opportunity to apply to become the 14th ancestor. Junhe Jianzu smiled. However, these half-step eternal realm applications, he naturally cannot refuse. So, he agreed to the application of the 6 half-step eternal realm. The first half-step eternal realm came. I have seen the 13th ancestor. The half-step eternal realm powerhouse Yangye Yuan ancestor respectfully said. Yangye Yuanzu, you applied to challenge the 13th ancestor a long time ago. You know the rules, so let's start choosing. Gen 29 River Jianzu said. Ancestor Yangye smiled slightly and said, I know that I am not the opponent of the 12 ancestors, and it is difficult to hold on for an hour without falling behind. I will choose one, and that is the 13th ancestor Endless Ancestor. 1. Anyway, you only need to persist in the hands of a 13 ancestor for an hour without losing the wind, so you can choose Yi Tian, you don't need to choose any more. Rules are rules, you must choose. Jianzhu Junhe said solemnly. All right. Yang Yi Yuan ancestor chose 212 ancestors casually, and the assessment began. Yang Yi Yuanzhu was also preparing to defeat Yi Tian, dreaming of becoming the 14th ancestor of Yuanshan Pavilion. However, as soon as they fought, Yi Tian's void-shattering sword completely injured him. In the blink of an eye, Yang Yi Yuan ancestor was seriously injured. I surrender, Yang Yi Yuanzhu immediately said. There are 2 more, continue the assessment. Junhe Jianzhu said. However, as soon as the remaining 212 ancestors appeared, Yang Yi Yuan ancestor immediately conceded defeat, not wanting to fight at all, or to continue to lose face. He just wanted to leave immediately, otherwise it would be too embarrassing. After Yang Yi Yuanzhu left, the other 5 half-step eternal realms were tested one after another, but they were all defeated by Yi Tian. After that, the inner circle members of the Origin God Pavilion knew that Yi Tian's strength was stronger than them, so naturally they did not dare to ridicule them, and also recognized Yi Tian's status. Moreover, they are also very clear that Yi Tian's potential in the future must be above the other 12 ancestors. After all, Yi Tian is only in the realm of the 9th level supreme. If he becomes a half-step eternal realm, wouldn't his strength be comparable to that of the extreme realm? Of course, there are some heaven-defying evildoers who are very evildoers in the beginning, but in the end they can't break through to the half-step eternal realm. This situation also exists. Therefore, if a day is not as good as half a step in the eternal realm, it will not be able to enter the eyes of those who are truly strong. This was also the reason why Yi Tian was able to leapfrog and fight, but no one was afraid of him, and the aloof eternal realm didn't even pay attention to him. Yuanshan Pavilion, the most core space, is a spacious room. The 13 patriarchs were sitting on chairs like ordinary people, surrounding a table filled with various rare fruit resources. Everyone chatted while eating, as if it didn't seem like a half-step eternal realm existed at all. Yi Tian also quickly integrated into such an atmosphere. What did everyone say? Everyone, I have become the 13th patriarch of the Yuanshan Pavilion. I wonder if some secrets can be known. Yi Tian asked. Infinite Ancestor, if you want to know anything, just ask. If we know, and it doesn't involve our own secrets, we will tell you. Junhe Jianzhu said. I am more interested in the existence of the Eternal Realm. Why can't the Eternal Realm be seen in the Yuanai? Could it be that the Eternal Realm exists in the area outside the Yuanai? But the Yuanai seems to be endless, and there are no records and legends in other places. 1. Yi Tian asked this question. Ha 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 ha. Feng Jiyu Yuanzhu smiled and said. Endless Ancestor, I also guessed that you would ask this question. In fact, many supreme people and even some weaker half-step eternal realms will be curious about this. This is not too top-secret information, you can also tell. The Source Sea is indeed endless. The Source Sea is surrounded by space-time projections. It can be said to be outside the Source Sea, or it can be said to be a part of the Source Sea. If the Source Sea is compared to a main world, and the main there are many small worlds around the world, and although some small worlds are not as large as the main world, their resources and cultivation environment are even better than the main world. Yes, the Source Sea seems to be the source of everything, but it is still restricted, making it difficult to change this place, and the time and space territories around the Source Sea are diverse, not as eternal as the Source Sea. No change. Those time-space territories will even give birth to various precious treasure resources, which are beneficial to the cultivation and development of the Eternal Realm. If some time-space territories develop for a long time, more top powerhouses will be born than the Source Sea. For example, in the Source Sea, the Extreme Realm is relatively rare, but there are many Extreme Realms in some time and space territories. Of course, the Source Sea has an advantage, that is, the innate eternal rules are complete. Only the Source Sea can truly give birth to the half-step eternal realm of the Nine-Pole Realm, and the space-time territory can only give birth to the Eight-Pole Realm and half-step eternal realm powerhouse. Quote. Therefore, other 8-pole half-step eternal level powerhouses in the space-time territory may even enter the Origin Sea at a huge price in order to attack the Nine-Pole state. But there are several evildoers who can truly break through to the Nine-Pole state. We don't quite know either. 1. The existence of the Eternal Realm almost controls a space-time territory, so they are also called Lords. There is a huge Source Sea film between the Source Sea and the space-time territory, and non-Eternal Realm Lords cannot be broken, so we half-step Eternal Realm the only way is to leave the Source Sea and go to those time and space territories, unless it is a half-step Eternal Realm powerhouse of the Nine-Pole Realm, forcibly tearing the Source Sea film can come to those time and space territories. Similarly, if the half-step Eternal Realm of the space-time territory wants to come over, he has to ask the Eternal Realm for help. When the 12 patriarchs finished speaking, Yi Tian roughly understood the secret. I know that if you want to become the eternal realm, you must integrate with the eternal rules, so why is it difficult for the extreme realm powerhouses to break through to the eternal realm? Logically speaking, shouldn't it be easier? Yi Tian asked this question. Many supreme people know that although it is big, it may represent the big breakthrough to the eternal realm, and many who have broken through to the eternal realm have stepped into the extreme realm. Therefore, he is more puzzled about this issue and has not yet figured it out. At this time, Jianzhu Junhe and the other side. Feng Jiyu Yuanzhu said, because of the innate eternal rules, you have also understood the innate eternal rules, and we have sensed them. Yes, it's not a good thing to understand the innate eternal rules, it means that you have a deeper control over the rules. Yi Tian said. No, Jianzhu Junhe shook his head and explained, if you only comprehend the eternal rules, but not the innate eternal rules, then you only need to integrate the 810 eternal rules to be promoted to the eternal realm. But once you accidentally realize out of the innate eternal rules, then you cannot integrate the ordinary eternal rules, you must integrate the innate eternal rules, you can be promoted to the eternal realm. This is the reason why it is difficult for the extreme realm powerhouses to break through to the eternal realm. What? You must integrate the innate eternal rules before you can be promoted to the eternal realm. It was the first time Yi Tian learned about such a secret. Endless ancestor, this secret must not be publicized, it is a rule made by the eternal realm. Junhe Jianzhu reminded, lest Yi Tian leak it out. Why hide this secret? Yi Tian wondered. Junhe Jianzhu guessed. There may be two reasons. The first reason is that you don't want to give birth to more eternal realm. Many geniuses had great hope of being promoted to eternal realm, but it was all because they did not know this secret. Comprehending the innate eternal rules has made it many times more difficult to break through. But it may not be the reason, because although the eternal realm restricts us from spreading, it does not completely prohibit it, nor does it make us make an oath. Therefore, it may also be the second reason. The second reason is that the powerhouses of the eternal realm also hope to create more eternal realms who are promoted to the extreme realm. Such eternal realms have greater potential, higher future prospects, and can leap to a higher level. Endless ancestor, you have already understood the innate eternal rules, so you must be promoted to the extreme realm, and then you can be promoted to the eternal realm by integrating the innate eternal rules. Yi Tian suddenly realized, but he didn't panic in his heart. He was very confident in himself, and he would definitely be able to merge with the innate eternal rules and be promoted to the eternal realm. Next, Yi Tian kept chatting with the other 12 patriarchs, learning more and more secrets. Unexpected, Junhe Jianzhu suggested. After a while, the Wuhan territory will be opened, and we are going to go again this time. Chapter 1636 3 Major Opportunities for the Wuhan territory. The Wuhan territory, could it be a space-time territory? Can't we enter the space-time territory? Yi Tian raised doubts. Junhe Jianzhu explained. The Wuhan territory is indeed a time and space territory, but it is a broken time and space territory, and the time and space lord will also be broken and embedded in the source sea. In the world, there will be a channel to enter it. When Yi Tian heard this, he completely understood. Then, Yi Tian knew the value of Wuhan territory. The Wuhan territory was once the time and space territory of the Wuhan Lord, but unfortunately the Wuhan Lord fell. As for how he fell, Junhe Jianzhu and the others don't know. However, a huge fragment of the Wuhan territory is now embedded in the Origin Sea, and it belongs to the Origin Sea completely, so they can enter the half-step eternal realm. Of course, the Wuhan territory is also very dangerous. There is a very terrifying creature in it, the time and space dragon python, which may have been a pet raised by the Wuhan Lord. But now, the Wuhan Lord has fallen, and the space-time dragon python can no longer be controlled, but he still insists on the mission of guarding the Wuhan territory. Once someone enters the Wuhan territory, he will be attacked by the time and space dragon python. The time and space dragon python's strength is very terrifying, basically half-step eternal realm, and the best among them is half-step eternal realm comparable to the extreme realm level. Therefore, the Supreme Being is not suitable for entering the unmarked territory at all, and entering is death. According to the information disclosed by the other 12 ancestors, the Wuhan territory has 3 major opportunities. The first opportunity is Wuyahai. There will be many rare resources in Wuyahai in the Wuhan territory, but it is also the base camp of the time-space dragon python. Without absolute strength, entering there is courting death. The second opportunity is the Rift Valley. This valley can be said to be a place for cultivation, and it can also be said to be a spectacle. There is a strange wind blowing in the Rift Valley all the year round, and this strange wind can affect the will of half-step eternal realm. Half-step eternal realm's soul and body are integrated, but it does not mean that there is no will, and the will also exists, and it has a great influence. If you have a strong will, you can stick to your heart, which will be of great benefit to breakthroughs, and even help to break through bottlenecks. The will of half-step eternal realm is already very strong, and it is very difficult to exercise the will, but Rift Valley can help exercise the will. Moreover, there is no space-time dragon python in the Rift Valley, and the time-space dragon python does not like to go to the Rift Valley. Therefore, Rift Valley is the safest and easiest opportunity to enter, but it will take a long time to improve the will. More importantly, half-step eternal realm is also difficult to stay in the Rift Valley for a long time. Once the time is long, the Rift Valley will break the will and the body will collapse. Moreover, the Rift Valley can only be entered at certain times, and it is impossible to enter at other times. No half-step eternal realm powerhouse will stay in the Wuhan territory all the time, it is too dangerous. Therefore, those half-step eternal realms will only stay in Rift Valley for a while before leaving. And Yi Tian silently remembered the place of Rift Wind Valley in his heart. The third opportunity is Wuhan Mountain. This is the former residence of the Wuhan Lord. Although it was dilapidated after a war, it still left a lot of good things. Therefore, Wuhan Mountain is also the biggest opportunity for Wuhan territory. It is also a place where many half-step eternal realms want to enter. The day when the Wuhan territory opened was after 3 robbery yuan, so the 13 ancestors agreed to enter the Wuhan territory together after 3 robbery yuan. As for the other members of the inner circle, they are not qualified to enter, and even the other half-step eternal realm among the inner circle members are not qualified to enter. These opportunities are unique to the 13 patriarchs. If Yi Tian hadn't become the 13 patriarchs, he would not be eligible to enter it. Of course, if Yi Tian finds a similar opportunity in the future, he can also tell Junhee Jianzhu and the others to share some opportunities, which is also one of the purposes of the Yuanshan Pavilion. In the blink of an eye, 3 robbery times passed. On this day, the 13 ancestors gathered at the Yuanshan Pavilion. Let's go. The Source God Pavilion sent the 13 ancestors across a long distance and came directly to a relatively remote territory. Soon, the 13th ancestor came to a place, and there were a half-step eternal realm hidden here. Jianzhu Junhee, your Source God Pavilion actually brought a 9th-level Supreme Person. What is the origin of this 9th-level Supreme Person? A half-step eternal realm appeared and asked curiously. Chunfeng Yuanzhu, this is the 13th ancestor of our Yuanshan Pavilion. Junhee Jianzhu said casually, and then he didn't say much, and his tone with Zunfeng Yuanzhu was not very good. It is good. It can be seen that the relationship between Junhee Jianzhu and Zunfeng Yuanzhu is not good. At this time, Feng Jiyu Yuanzhu sent a message to Yi Tian and said, Zunfeng Yuanzhu is also one of the most powerful people in the Source Sea, but his relationship with Junhee Jianzhu is not very good, because he once stole his belongings. It is a chance for Junhee Jianzhu. In the future, you have to be careful about Patrol Feng Yuanzhu, but don't worry too much. He is also in the extreme state of mind, and he is only stronger than you. Yi Tian nodded and said nothing. Soon, half-step eternal realm came one by one, and hundreds of half-step eternal realm gathered here. Here we go. The rules of Wuhan territory collided with the rules of Yuanai, and a gap began to open. Whoa whoa, a famous half-step eternal realm rushed into the crack and entered the Wuhan territory. Yi Tian also rushed into the Wuhan territory with Junhee Jianzhu and the others. As soon as he entered the Wuhan territory, a roar came. These sounds belong to the time and space dragon python. Boom, a space-time dragon of many pythons that spread across the sky came through the void, one of which was extremely large and had a terrifying aura. Kill. One by one, the half-step eternal realm shot, and they fought with the space-time dragon python, but their purpose was not to kill the space-time dragon python, but to escape here. Some half-step eternal realm rushed to the Rift Valley, where it is relatively safe, and the time-space dragon python will not go anywhere. There are also people who don't want to go to the Rift Valley, but go to Wuhan Mountain. Although the time-space dragon python can also break into the Wuhan Mountain, there are certain places in the Wuhan Mountain that the time-space dragon python cannot enter. As for Wuyahai, no one dared to drag it. Of course, there is no half-step eternity that wanders around. Junhee Jianzhu and Fenggu Yuanzhu directly chose Wuhan Mountain, while Yi Tian chose Rift Wind Valley. He is going to experience the will uplift brought by the opportunity of the Rift Valley first, and as for Wuhan Mountain, it is not too late to go again. Chapter 1637 The Will of the Rift Valley. Yi Tian has a map of the Wuan territory, plus his own strength is not weak, and he also has some half-step eternal realm to go to the Rift Valley, so the pressure he shares is not very large. Soon, he rushed out of the siege of the time-space dragon python and came to the Rift Valley. As soon as he entered the Rift Valley, a wind blew over. Those time-space dragon pythons did not dare to approach the Rift Valley, and they retreated, or wandered outside the Rift Valley, but did not enter. And Yi Tian also felt the strangeness of Rift Valley. Boom! A breeze came, blowing on Yi Tian's will, as if the will had endured endless beatings. This feeling was very painful. Moreover, the longer the breeze blows, the stronger the impact on the will. This is still outside the Rift Valley. If it is inside, I am afraid that the impact will be even more severe. In the Rift Valley, bear the shock of will, and outside the Rift Valley, bear the siege of the time-space dragon python. Therefore, no one dares to stay here for a long time, otherwise the will be severely damaged, the strength will be greatly reduced, and it will even be difficult to resist the attack of the time-space dragon python. Yi Tian walked 810 steps into the depths of the Riftwind Valley, feeling the willpower impact brought by the breeze, and actually enjoying it silently. Compared to other supreme beings in half-step eternal realm, I rarely encounter big setbacks. Although my willpower is not weak, compared with those half-step eternal realm, it is still a little worse. You can make up for the defect in my will, Yi Tian murmured. Soon, he came to a more suitable position, sat cross-legged, and silently endured the impact of his will. At the same time, he made the cloned body begin to replicate the existence of a body as a clone. Wow! Another Yi Tian appeared. Yi Tian asked another Yi Tian to go to Wuan Mountain, and he didn't want to waste the opportunity of Wuan Mountain, so one copied his body to temper his will in the Rift Valley, and the other clone went to find the opportunity without delaying things at all. Wow! The clone acted, rushed out of the Rift Valley, and immediately entered the siege of the time-space dragon python. Although Yi Tian's strength is not very strong, in terms of life-saving ability, he is even more powerful than Junhe Jianzu and the others. After becoming the supreme being of the 9 levels, his life-saving ability is almost comparable to that of the Star Ancestor, perhaps even stronger, and there are too few existences that can kill him in the half-step eternal realm. At the beginning, Star Ancestor was sealed by a half-step eternal realm, and that half-step eternal realm was also a top half-step eternal realm not far from the extreme realm, seal. Therefore, even if 10 extreme realms wanted to surround Yi Tian, it would be difficult to kill him. Unless a 7-pole half-step eternal realm powerhouse like Wuji Bingzu strikes at him, there is no hope of killing him, and it will take a lot of time. Therefore, Yi Tian is not afraid of being surrounded and killed by the time-space dragon python. After some battles, Yi Tian finally arrived at Wuan Mountain. Wuan Mountain is very large. It is said to be a mountain, but it is actually a mountain range. There are many treasures and buildings here. Yi Tian did not hesitate in the slightest and rushed directly to one of the peaks. The 12 ancestors revealed a piece of information, that is, there is a place on Wuan Mountain that is very suitable for the supreme beings of the 9 levels, where they can quickly improve their cultivation. This is Dongwei Mountain in Wuan Mountain. On Dongwei Mountain, there is a special formation that can combine the power of this space-time territory to transform various energies into a special kind of energy. This energy is called traceless liquid, and traceless liquid cannot be stored in the outside world for a long time, so it cannot be taken away, and must be refined in time. And Wuan liquid is estimated to be a special energy that has been researched by Wuan territory. It is very easy to absorb and refine, surpassing any kind of energy in the source sea, and even more valuable than many precious treasures that improve cultivation. If you refine the traceless liquid CJFI, you can improve your cultivation in a short time, but it will not help you much in the half-step eternal realm. But for the 9 supremes, the help is too great. Therefore, Yi Tian will come back to the mountains. After entering Dongwei Mountain, Yi Tian discovered that he was the only one here, and the other half-step eternal realm did not come here. Soon, Yi Tian came to a dilapidated hall. Here is the East Hall. Although the main hall is dilapidated, the formation can still be used. Yi Tian urged the formation here, and immediately took out countless resource materials. There is no way for this formation to generate traceless liquid out of thin air. Yi Tian must provide resources by himself. When countless resources poured into the core of the big formation began to transform energy. As time slowly passed, a drop of cyan water began to appear in the void, and this cyan drop was the traceless liquid. Yi Tian swallowed the traceless liquid and started refining it. Boom! The energy of the traceless liquid burst into Yi Tian's body quickly, helping Yi Tian to temper his body and improve his cultivation. What a powerful effect, but unfortunately I am not the main body, and copying the body to improve the cultivation base can't feed back the main body. Yi Tian muttered. He knew that copying his body to improve his cultivation would not help, but he still came here, mainly because his current strength was too weak, and he had to improve his cultivation before he could get good things in Wuan Mountain. Of course, his body can also come here, but Yi Tian is not willing to take risks. After all, the opportunity of the Wuan territory has not yet reached the point where he desperately needs to work hard, and if he wants to rise to the pinnacle of the 9th layer supreme, he just needs to spend more time. So, he didn't really care. After a long time, Yi Tian's cultivation level has improved a lot, and his body has become much stronger. Although he is still a long way from the peak of the 9th level supreme, his conventional combat power is probably comparable to that of Jin Chen Yuanzu among the 12 ancestors. Almost, it's time to go to another place in Wuan Mountain. Yi Tian muttered. Wow, his body disappeared in Dongwei Mountain, and soon he arrived at Wuan Pagoda in Wuan Mountain. The Wuan Pagoda is an assessment tower built by the Wuan Lord for his disciples or servants. Today, although the Wuan Lord has fallen, the Wuan Tower is still there, and there are still some rewards in it. At this time, outside the Traceless Tower, time and space dragon pythons shuttle back and forth. After Yi Tian came here, he forcibly rushed into the Wuan Pagoda and came to the hall of the Wuan Pagoda. Here, he saw several acquaintances. Junhe Jianzu, Fenggu Yuanzu, you are here too. Yi Tian said hello. Endless Ancestor, you are here too. Junhe Jianzu and Fenggu Yuanzu smiled and said. Chapter 1638 Secret Art, World of Will. Open black lens bracket seeking complete order close black lens bracket. Jianzu Junhe, have you entered the Wuan Tower? Yi Tian asked curiously. Breakthrough, Junhe Jianzu said. I only crossed the 5th floor, the same as last time, so there is no reward. We are waiting for Qingshu Yuanzu. He only passed the 4th floor last time. This time I have broken through to the extreme, and I should be able to pass through the 5th floor. The rewards of the 5th floor are quite good. Yi Tian didn't wait for Qingshu Yuanzu, he went directly to the 1st floor of Wuan Pagoda. The 1st floor of the Traceless Pagoda is easy to pass through. As long as the strength is at the top among the 9 supremes, there is a certain hope to pass through the 1st floor. In the 1st layer, a space-time dragon python actually appeared. It's not a real time-space dragon python, it's a time-space dragon python formed by the formation of the formation. Yi Tian recognized it. Boom! Yi Tian punched in the past, directly blowing up the time and space dragon python. That's how the 1st floor went. After passing through the 1st floor, Yi Tian received a reward. Dragonbeard Sacred Stone. The value of this reward is not low. After the Dragonbeard Holy Stone is refined, it can be worn on the body and temper the body all the time. It is not very helpful for the supreme beings of the 9th level, but for the supreme beings with low cultivation, the value of the sacred stone is precious. Originally, Yi Tian couldn't recognize the Dragonbeard Sacred Stone, but after becoming the 13th ancestor of the Yuanshan Pavilion, he naturally obtained a list of treasures from the 12 ancestors, including the treasures born in the space-time territory. And there is no Dragonbeard Holy Stone in the Source Sea, it was born in the space-time territory. Dragonbeard Sacred Stone doesn't help me much, but it can be used by UAA. Yi Tian thought to himself. Afterwards, Yi Tian went to break through the 2nd floor of the Wuan Pagoda, but the result was still easy to break through. The corresponding requirement for the 2nd floor is half-step Eternal Realm. The corresponding strength of the 3rd layer is a powerful half-step Eternal Realm. The strength corresponding to the 4th layer is the top half-step Eternal Realm. The 5th floor requires extreme strength. Yi Tian broke through the Wuan Pagoda layer by layer, and quickly passed the 4th floor, and the reward he obtained was not low, especially the reward obtained after passing through the 4th floor turned out to be the Void God Leaf. The Void God Leaf is a life-saving treasure, which can instantly penetrate the void and escape from the sky, and the Void God Leaf can also cover the breath and block any exploration power. Even the 9th level supreme person can escape the pursuit of the extreme level once he uses the Void God Leaf. Of course, for the Eternal Realm, the Void God Leaf is useless. But even so, in the Source Sea, the Void God Leaf is enough to send people one of the top 10 escape treasures, and it cannot be traded at all, because it can only be used 3 times at most, so it is too rare, and too rare, no one will stupidly trade it. Passing through the 4th floor, Yi Tian level obtained the Void God Leaf, luck is definitely good. Subsequently, Yi Tian came to the 5th floor of the Wuan Pagoda. The 5th floor requires extreme realm strength to pass through. Yi Tian did not enter the Wuan territory with his fingers of the eternal realm, so he could not pass through here. However, he first went to Dongwei Mountain to improve his strength. Now, his strength has soared, and his distance from the extreme realm is almost the same. Coupled with the life-saving ability of the endless eternal body, there should be some hope of breaking through the 5th floor. Even Junhee Jianzhu felt that the reward of the 5th floor was very precious, it must be very good, so he naturally wanted to pass the 5th floor. Soon, the 5th floor is here. Boom, a time-space dragon python that is comparable to the one extreme realm appeared. Perhaps its real combat power is a little worse than that of one extreme realm, but it's definitely not much worse. For a half-step eternal realm powerhouse at the first extreme realm level, it would take a long time to break through the 5th layer, and it would even take a long hard battle. Yi Tian is very clear that if he wants to kill this time-space dragon python, he cannot do it in a short period of time. Then kill him, Yi Tian decided. Boom, the fight between Yi Tian and this time-space dragon python began. As soon as they fought, Yi Tian was slightly weaker, but barely resisted and was not injured. Time passed slowly, Yi Tian relied on the endless eternal body to delay the fight, and from time to time, he gave the space-time dragon python a blow, causing him a little injury. And although the space-time dragon python can also hurt Yi Tian's recovery ability is too terrifying and it recovers almost instantly. Time passed slowly, although Yi Tian's consumption was huge, but he also absorbed resources from the internal world to restore energy. This was not cheating, and the Traceless Tower would not care. I don't know how long it took. Yi Tian finally consumed this space-time dragon python and passed the 5th floor. But at this time, Yi Tian's body copy injury is relatively light. After a while, all the injuries have recovered. This time, Yi Tian seemed to have passed the 5th floor without paying any price. But he knew very well that if he hadn't improved his cultivation and strengthened his strength, he would probably not be able to hurt the time-space dragon python. Ask for flowers. Obviously, he had made the right decision earlier. The 5th floor passed, and the reward given by the Traceless Tower also appeared. Wow, a treasure appeared in front of him. This is an inheritance ball. Inherited. Yi Tian has some expectations. It comes from the inheritance of the Lord of the Eternal Realm. What is it? If it is a general inheritance, then he is not interested, but what if it helps him? Yi Tian directly accepted the inheritance, and soon the inheritance ended, and the inheritance ball shattered directly. Obviously, it was a one-time inheritance ball. If the inheritance ball could be passed on continuously, its value would be enough to make a power completely rise. But the more advanced the inheritance, the more troublesome it is to create, and it is not even suitable for heaven and earth. Naturally, it cannot be inherited too many times. This is a limitation. 0. Will World. This is an inheritance secret technique that helps to enhance the will. It seems that Lord Wuan has a deep understanding of will, and his territory has the Rift Valley that tempers the will, and he has also created a Will World secret technique. Yi Tian thought to himself. But after reading this Will World secret technique, he felt that Lord Wuan was a lunatic. Willing the world, forming billions and billions of wills everywhere in the body, the will is strong to a certain extent, and even the body can burst into explosive power and combat power beyond the limit. Even, the will can affect the innate eternal rules. After the will world reaches the 9th level, the will can directly smash the innate eternal rules and smash the flesh of the eternal realm. However, this is an incomplete secret technique, and every step of cultivation is very dangerous. More importantly, the will is too difficult to improve, and it is almost impossible to reach the 9th order of the will world. This is a secret technique imagined by the Wuan Lord. Moreover, the general clone cannot cultivate the world of will at all, because the clone is not the body, does not have some abilities that the body has, and cannot withstand the world of will. But who dares to test the body? Lord Wuan, shouldn't he let many people cultivate the world of will and use them as experiments, causing many people to die, and even arresting many geniuses, and finally angering a powerful eternal realm and finally being killed? 1. Yi Tian guessed. Immediately, he smiled. This secret technique suits him well. His cloned body is no different from his original body, and he can use the cloned body to cultivate the world of will. Even if it collapses, nothing will happen. Chapter 1639 The Forbidden Monument that disappointed Yi Tian. For Yi Tian, obtaining the secret technique of the world of will this time is the biggest gain, even more precious than all kinds of rare resources. Yi Tian didn't break through the 6th floor. If he wanted to break through the 6th floor, he would not be able to reach the half-step eternal realm at the 2nd realm. He was afraid that he would need the 3rd realm. Therefore, Yi Tian gave up the 6th floor and came out directly. When he came out, Junhee Janzu and the others were no longer here, and they obviously left. Wuan Mountain is not only the two treasures of Dongwei Mountain and Wuan Pagoda, but also other treasures, so Junhee Janzu and the others do not want to waste time. Soon, Yi Tian came to another treasure place in Wuan Mountain, Forbidden Heaven Monument. The Forbidden Heaven Monument is the greatest opportunity of Wuan Mountain. Comprehending the Forbidden Heaven Monument is not to improve one's control of the eternal rules or the innate eternal rules, but to understand the fusion of the body and the innate eternal rules. It is too difficult to integrate the body with the innate eternity rules. Many extreme half-step eternal realm powerhouses can't find the direction at all, but the Forbidden Heaven Monument, August 10th, is of some help. Of course, this so-called certain help can only increase the success rate by less than 1%, but it is also very good. With more opportunities like this, wouldn't there be hope to be promoted to the eternal realm? Therefore, the Forbidden Heaven Steel is very precious to the half-step eternal realm, but unfortunately they cannot take the Forbidden Heaven Steel. It is estimated that the eternal realm cannot look down on the Forbidden Heaven Monument, or it is impossible to take the Forbidden Heaven Monument, causing the Forbidden Heaven Monument to exist in the Wuan Mountain in the Wuan territory. The Forbidden Heaven Monument is located on the top of the Forbidden Heaven Peak in Wuan Mountain, where there are many dragons and pythons. At this time, a famous half-step eternal realm arranged a formation to resist the attack of the time-space dragon python, so that the other half-step eternal realm could comprehend the Forbidden Heaven Monument with peace of mind, and everyone cooperated to comprehend it. I actually cooperated with the Forbidden Heaven Monument. Yi Tian didn't expect these half-step eternal realm existences to cooperate, but when he thinks of not cooperating, he can't comprehend with peace of mind. Forbidding the Heaven Monument can't restrain the space-time dragon python from approaching, so if there is no one to bless him, comprehension alone is courting death. Subsequently, Yi Tian also participated in it, but he was a late entrant, so it was impossible for him to be qualified to comprehend the Forbidden Heaven Monument immediately, and it would be the next batch's turn. After a long time, it was Yi Tian's turn to comprehend the Forbidden Heaven Monument. The Forbidden Heaven Monument is not very large, only 100 meters high. It is purple with a special purple aperture around it, and within the range of the aperture, one can use the Forbidden Heaven Monument to comprehend the mystery of the fusion of the body and the innate eternal rules. At this time, many half-step eternal realms have taken out resources to assist in enlightenment everywhere to help them quickly enlighten. And Yi Tian's clone did not carry any resources, so he could only rely on himself. Boom! In the perception, strands of innate eternal rules continue to evolve and slowly merge with life, which is a demonstration of the process of fusion of various life and innate eternal rules. Soon, one after another life collapsed and died in the fusion. The fusion of hundreds of millions of lives failed in high school, but a few lives successfully merged and were promoted to the eternal realm. The Forbidden Heaven Monument actually shows the fusion process in a special way, allowing the half-step eternal realm to comprehend. Only then did Yi Tian understand why the Forbidden Heaven Monument had the effect of assisting fusion. Looking at it like this, even a fool can gain something. However, this straightforward approach does work and is useful. Yi Tian also quickly immersed himself in enlightenment, even substituting himself into it, but unfortunately these beings that fuse the innate eternal rules do not use their own body as the test object. And each person's body is different, the innate eternal rules that have been comprehended are also different, and the fusion method and difficulty are also different. Therefore, these examples of fusion cannot be completely combined, and only a small gain can be obtained. Certainly, the Forbidden Monument is still one of the gains for Banbu Eternal Realm to have a deeper understanding and perception of its own eternal rules or innate eternal rules. Unfortunately, it doesn't help me much, Yi Tian secretly said. He might as well use the cloned body to try to fuse again and again in the future, and find experience from countless failures, which is definitely more useful than comprehending the Forbidden Heaven Monument. But the other half-step Eternal Realm powerhouses do not have the means like him, and naturally cannot do that, and can only seek hope again and again with the help of treasures like the Forbidden Heaven Monument. After some years of comprehension, Yi Tian gave up the Forbidden Heaven Monument and chose to leave here. After that, he found treasures everywhere in Wuan Mountain, and he also had some harvests. For example, there are traces of Eternal Realm fighting somewhere in Wuan Mountain, and the traces still exist today, and you can also feel the mystery of Eternal Realm moves. Another example is that there are rows of stone statues in Wuan Mountain. These stone statues contain some inheritance. If you comprehend carefully, you can also comprehend some eternal skills. However, this is only helpful to the general half-step Eternal Realm. Those ordinary half-step eternal realms have not learned the eternal skills, so they want to obtain some eternal skills inheritance, and use other eternal skills to create their own eternal skills. But Yi Tian has a lot of eternal skills, so he doesn't look down on such inheritance. One treasure after another is disappointing to Yi Tian. I have to say that his vision is now too high, and he can't see the benefits here. The unmarked territory has been discovered long ago. I don't know how many half-step Eternals have entered here, and there are too few benefits to stay. Yi Tian thought to himself. But this time, his biggest gains belong to the two opportunities of the Rift Valley and the World of Will, followed by treasures like the Void God Leaf. A few years later, Junhe Jianzhu and the others invited Yi Tian to collect resources in certain areas of the Wuan territory. As long as they resist the attack of the Time and Space Dragon Python, they can snatch some of the resources born here. As long as you don't go to Wuyahai, there is still a lot of hope to save your life. But there are definitely strong people who will go to the Boundless Sea, such as those half-step eternal realm of the 5 or 6 extreme realms. It is estimated that they will join hands to break through the Boundless Sea and snatch those extremely precious resources. Yi Tian rejected Junhe Jianzhu's proposal. He has no interest in these now. At this time, Yi Tian is trying to cultivate the Will World in Rift Valley, and the clone has also returned here. In fact, the clone is the same as the cloned body, and both have clone talents. Even if one of them is lost, the clone talent can be copied again. Therefore, he can continuously try to cultivate the World of Will without fear of falling. The Rift Valley environment is just right for the Will World, is the best place. The wind of the Rift Valley tempers the will, and the Will World enhances the will. The two are perfectly combined, but without a life, even the Wuan Lord would not dare to cultivate so crazy, but Yi Tian dared. This day, when Yi Tian was cultivating the World of Will, there was a problem with his will, which led to a problem with his body. Coupled with the wind from the Rift Valley, the will collapsed and the body began to disintegrate. Immediately, the 5.8 points dissipated. The clone has fallen, make another copy. Yi Tian accelerated the time, and soon he could condense a body and start practicing again. I don't know how long it has passed, when the real River Sword ancestor sent a message. Endless ancestor, the entrance is about to close, we have to leave. Yi Tian immediately replied to him, Jianzhu Junhe, I came in as a clone, and I didn't bring any treasures, so I'm not ready to go out. I'm going to practice here for a few more days. Junhe Jianzhu didn't persuade Yi Tian anymore. He guessed that Yi Tian was cultivating in Rift Valley. But after practicing for a long time, the clone can't hold on, and still can get out, and once it comes out, it will withstand the attack of the Time and Space Dragon Python, but it still can't survive. Therefore, this can only be done for a few more days, which is not very useful. However, he also knew that Yi Tian was only a clone, and the loss was not big, so he did not persuade him. Soon, a famous half-step eternal realm left the Wuan territory, leaving only Yi Tian alone. Chapter 1640 The World of Will, Second Order. There is only one person left in the unmarked territory. However, before the entrance to the Wuan territory disappeared, Yi Tian still let the clone go out and let the main body take away some of the treasures carried by the clone. For example, the Void God Leaf. The value of this thing is relatively high and cannot be lost. After that, the clone was self-annihilated, and the cloned body recondensed in the Wuan territory. In this way, Yi Tian can boldly use the Riftwind Valley to cultivate the World of Will. His cloned body is at the edge of the Rift Valley, where the impact of will is the weakest, so the cloned body can last for a long time without leaving the Rift Valley. And his clone is in the inner perimeter of Rift Valley, withstanding the violent will shock, beating his will frantically, and training with the World of Will. In this way, the clones collapsed again and again, and they practiced again and again, allowing Yi Tian to know more about the World of Will. The will is not like the cultivation base. The will of copying the body and the clone is improved, and the will of Yi Tian's body will also be improved, which is like a kind of experience and perception. As the clones collapsed again and again, the will is still improving, and the secret technique of the will world has gradually gained a lot of insight. Combined with Yi Tian's own situation, it has become a secret technique belonging to Yi Tian, and it is carried out step by step. Complete. He would not be able to safely practice according to Lord Wuan's secret technique. It would easily collapse, and he had to improve himself and adapt to his own body before he could become a truly powerful secret technique of will. This day, the World of Will has made new progress, and he is ready to open up a World of Will. Once a World of Will is opened up, it means that the secret technique of World of Will has reached the first level. Yi Tian continuously condenses his will through the World of Will, and opens up a World of Will in a certain cell in his body. The world of will is not the real world, so even a cell can withstand the world of will. Will world, open. On the unknown level of cells, a world of will was forcibly opened up, and endless wills materialized in such a world. At the same time, Yi Tian has complete control over this cell and can burst out terrifying power. Moreover, he can also use this cell as the core to radiate the entire body, so that the body bursts with much stronger power than usual. More importantly, the world of will has been opened up, which can slowly strengthen the will, which is also a channel for the improvement of the will. It is conceivable that once a large number of will worlds are opened up, how fast will the will increase and how strong the will become. It has to be said that this will world secret technique created by Lord Wuan is indeed terrifying, but it is a pity that he himself does not dare to practice it. The clone successfully opened up the world of will, but it was impossible for the ontology to open up the world of will automatically. Then, Yi Tian's body also needs to open up the world of will, plus this process has been perfected, so there will be no danger. Yi Tian began to open up a world of will in the Void Origin Hall. Soon, ontology opens up the world of will to succeed. In the following days, Yi Tian's clone has been staying in the Rift Valley. Due to the opening of the will world, his will has been strengthened, and he can stay in the Rift Valley for a longer time. Moreover, Yi Tian can go deeper into the Rift Valley. And just like that, another period passed. On this day, Yi Tian began to open up the second world of will. Unfortunately, the opening of the second will world failed. Yi Tian quickly found the reason. It was influenced by the first will world. The first will world radiated the entire body, while the second will world was under the influence of the first will world. If the world of will opens up like that, it will inevitably fail to open up. The failure to open up the world of will has directly damaged Yi Tian's will. In desperation, Yi Tian self-annihilated this avatar, and then reunited another avatar, which was more convenient than slowly restoring his will. In the following years, Yi Tian continued to study how to create the second will world, and found that it had a lot to do with the location of the cells. It can be said that the location of the cells chosen by each will world must conform to a certain law in order to avoid influence. After many attempts, Yi Tian found a suitable position and opened up the second will world. After the second will world was successfully opened up, Yi Tian's body began to open up the second will world, and it was a one-time success without any problems. Unknowingly, Yi Tian's cloned body and clone had been in Rift Valley for several robbery times. For such a long time, Yi Tian's avatar still exists there. In the eyes of Junhe Jianzhu and others, it is unimaginable, but no one knows. At this time, Yi Tian has opened up more than 300 will worlds. If 1,000 worlds of will were opened up, it would be equivalent to stepping into the second level of the secret art of world of will. According to the introduction of the secret art of the world of will, once the world of will reaches the second level, the will change. Yi Tian is not sure if this is true, but he really wants to raise the world of will to the second level. Now, he has a deeper understanding of the secret art of the world of will, and the speed of opening up the world of will is getting faster and faster. Moreover, his clone has come to the core of the Crack Valley. In this position, few half-step eternal realm dare to come here, otherwise the will be crushed by the impact. Yi Tian knew very well that with his current level of will, he couldn't get here, but more than 300 will worlds radiated his body, which made his impact on his will reach a terrifying level, so he could come here. This day, Yi Tian really reached the core of the Crack Valley, and here, he saw a boulder. This boulder is gray, with dense lines on it, not engraved, but natural. The will of the Fisher Valley should be radiated from this stone, that is to say, this stone created the vision of the Rift Valley. Yi Tian was surprised. He wanted to collect the stone, but found that he couldn't. Obviously, the Wuan Lord also set a ban on this stone, which is perfectly combined with the Wuan territory and cannot be taken away. Subsequently, Yi Tian 810 sat cross-legged on this stone of will, while bearing the impact of will, while cultivating the world of will. Before I knew it, another 5 robbery years passed. At this time, the number of Yi Tian's will worlds has reached 999, and only the last one left can reach the second order of the will world, causing the transformation of will. Boom, the 1000th will world is born. Yi Tian's will began to undergo a qualitative change, and the will seems to have stepped into a whole new level. At this time, the infinite cells on Yi Tian's body are echoing the transformation of will, and the body exudes endless radiance of will, illuminating the void in all directions. After a long time, the transformation of will ended. The will has increased tenfold. Yi Tian said in shock. The willpower improvement was very slow before, but this time the improvement is too terrifying. Also, the will is stronger. In addition, Yi Tian found that his will was blessed on his fist or weapon, it would become extremely sharp, and he could easily tear the body of half-step eternal realm. Of course, this is what Yi Tian tested with his own replica body. Moreover, the will can also improve their defense. After the will reaches the second order, it will be so terrifying, and perhaps the will of the eternal realm is the same. The second order will should be equivalent to the will of the eternal realm. Yi Tian guessed. In a word, after the transformation of his will reaches the second rank, his strength has also transformed, at least it can be comparable to the real first order realm, and it is not weaker than the real river sword ancestors.